Hey guys, welcome. Pause vibes, bros and growls. Just gonna put out a little announcement to everybody. Streaming now, come join. Put this on Twitter. Okay. On lay tweeted. All right. Hashtag boycott CVS. Twitter is never not mad. But we'd have it no other way, right? All right. Let me check the chat here. Hey guys, look at that. Party Central down here. Buttersock Daddy. That is I. The one and only. Ridley, what up? Welcome. Gothic Rose, loved me on the Dezombified live stream last night. Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was nice to meet those guys, and I hope they continue to get even more people on board. I saw that they were getting Mr. Creepypasta on there soon, so if you'd like to see him in a little less creepy of a format, be sure to check out the Dezombified podcast. Morning, Des, that's okay. Get your stream set up. That's awesome. Oh, Sarah, happy birthday to you. Yeah, I'm glad you can be here for a nice little birthday. Everybody say happy birthday to Sarah. AJL 1386, shout out to you. Piss Skater, how can I have such a calming voice? I don't know. I guess I'm just blessed with some different vocal cords here. More episodes in the podcast. Yeah, we got more coming out. Don't you worry. They should be up on Spotify, or at least updated this week on Monday for Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you haven't checked that out, it's pretty sweet because it's basically compilation videos from all my old audio going ham on Apple and Spotify podcasts. So it's called the Let's Read Podcast. Lils with the $5 says pizza money. Thank you so much, Lils. And thank you to you guys who were around last stream to help with our charity stream for Mr. Extreme's mother and what she's going through with treatment for cancer and all that kind of stuff. So honestly, your prayers, your support, and everybody who donated and just was amazing throughout all that. Thank you guys so much. She definitely sends massive regards. I guess she was pretty overwhelmed with joy to see how much support came out for that. So thank you guys for being here for that. And the newest video should have the link for the GoFundMe there if you guys still have a desire to donate to that. So thank you. About time I did more pizza delivery stories, I know. And I got a little surprise at the end as well. So stick around for that. Corey Edmonds with the 5 says, this is all I can afford this time. No, yeah, Corey, thank you so much for That was a huge donation last time. Honestly, it was insane. Honestly, insane. The equipment that I use to record. So right now, just for my streaming, I'm using an AKG C214 mic. Aaron Noel, so you guys in totality had donated around $650, and then I matched that. So we were able to donate close to $1,300 for those guys. So that was a huge, percentage going towards treatment and a lot of other amenities for their family. So, I know that saw them well, and they were very happy about that. But yeah, I use the AKG C214 for streaming. Really good quality. Lila, hello. Oh yes, thank you Gothic Rose for linking Mr. X's GoFundMe in the chat there if you guys want to check it out. Thank you for for all the support there. And then for recording my actual stories, I've been using this since around when I started. I think if it was not last night, in about one more day, this will be my 5-year anniversary on YouTube. So that's crazy. I literally started in August of 2014, and here I am. This is my job, my main job now. So I have you guys to thank for that, for supporting me. And I've been using this H4n Zoom handy recorder as my primary mic forever, and it still sounds fantastic. So I guess Zoom makes some pretty good products. I also have a Zoom interface for the stream as well, if you guys are familiar with interfaces. Acatalepsicat. I'm not sure if I pronounced it. With the 5 says, to use TubeBuddy, I'm starting a channel, and this editing stuff is rough. Buttersocks Monies, yeah, thank you so much for the 5. I use like vidIQ, I think, to see tags and that kind of thing, and various other data, and there's also a Social Blade extension you can get, but I never used TubeBuddy before. Yeah, happy YouTube birthday. Yeah, it is very weird. Weird how long it's been. How did I do my background? So that background you see there and the one you'll see when we're reading stories is from Robin, who is my editor. He's also a moderator in here along with Gothic Rose. And last time we were on stream, I had recorded talking about the Mary Celeste. And so that was exciting. I got that audio over to Robin, and he's going to take a peek at it and see where his creative mind goes with the editing and that kind of thing. But yeah, that'll be one of the first documentaries to come out. Also tonight, I'll be recording after we're done with the pizza stories, I'll be recording the second documentary that we're working on. Obviously, that'll be some time down the line, but they might both be, depending on how things progress here. But obviously, we want the best product we can give you as far as entertainment goes. But this one's called Who Killed Jill Dando? So I'm going to be recording that. I'm pretty excited that that's going to be awesome too. So there's only 5 stories in this compilation of pizza stories. So I'm hoping that will extend the time a little bit so we can all hang out for even longer. Also, if you're liking the music in the background, this is from College Music. It's called Mum Child Field Times. Mum Child Field Times. And yeah, College Music has a whole playlist devoted to royalty-free, copyright-free music you can use for your streams or videos or what have you. So that's pretty cool. Corey reviews. Yeah, these 5 stories might seem short, but they're pretty long, so it'll still probably end up being about 45 to 50 minutes long. So, but yeah, it's going to be fun. Galactic Roadkill is having a good time tonight. That's good to know. Hope you stay safe. Oh yeah, I should have used the pizza swimming pick. I'm sorry. But yeah, Natalia makes all of the Instagram promo art that you might see whenever I'm streaming. If you're going through my story, make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter so you can keep up to date when I'm streaming and new videos are coming out. And then also click that notification bell, because that definitely should let you know when new videos come out in your notifications on YouTube and email and all that kind of stuff. Some people can get desktop notifications, which is nice if there's certain channels that you just gotta see when it comes out. But yeah, guys, hit the like button while you're here if you get a chance. The more likes we get, the more people we can get strolling through the stream to say hello, and we can just be one big happy family. You think me and Darkness Prevails have similar voices? Maybe. I don't really hear it, but I mean, I'm kind of biased towards myself. I do like his voice, though. I like everybody, most of the narrator's voice that I come across. It's a cool thing that we all share, is the kind of uniqueness and the subjective experience that people have with that voice. Hey, Cassie's here. Hi, Cassie. She is in the house. Pizza Party 2.0. You saw Mr. Nightmare's new video from last night. It was number 24 today on YouTube's trending. Yeah, that is dope. It's sweet whenever his gets up on trending. It's like, wow. I would love to see that one day, but it's hard to say if that'll ever happen. My speaking voice is exactly the same as Nick Hexum from 311. Bush did 311. That's cool. I love 311. Ember is the color of your energy. Wow. Carlisle. Frank. Hey man, big fan. Thanks for the videos. Much like. Absolutely. Thank you. Carlisle. That's a cool name. Oh, it's Isha's birthday too. All right. Happy birthday, Isha. Jim Comey, is this going to be scary? Oh, you'll have to wait and find out. Squid, what am I drinking? I'm just drinking water. Is Mr. Nightmare and Llama Arts the same person? They are not. They are two different entities on this reality plane. Haunted Librarian, he's got 5 million followers. You'll get there. Your content's so good. Thank you. Yeah, trying to change it up with the documentaries, try to give something new, and hoping that it will be a good investment for down the line. Do I like the band Tool? I feel like you'd be a band of the psychedelic rock metal bands. Fan of that. Yeah, you know, I've heard quite a bit of Tool. What's that one song? It's like... Hey, Sam Riding says, looking forward to those documentaries you mentioned in the charity stream. Hype. Yeah, it's going to be sweet. And we're actually recording, we recorded one during the stream of the charity, and we're going to record another one tonight for Who Killed what is it again? Sorry. Jill Dando. Yeah. Keep wanting to say the complete wrong name, but it's going to be awesome. Should do a collaboration with Mr. Nightmare. Yeah, if he'd call me back, man. I've been ringing his phone. No. It's all good. He's pretty private of an individual, and I totally understand. Sometimes you got to do that when you're at the top. Do I like Harry Potter or Star Wars better? Harry Potter for me all the way. Yeah, definitely Star Wars, but Star Wars has kind of been turning into shite lately. I just don't really care about it anymore, and um, I don't know. They're just the leadership there in the director's seat and the writer's seat. It just seems like they've just Disney has lost touch with the original vision of the universe, and I feel like maybe some of the offshoot movies might have a chance at being individually good, but you're definitely going to have to free up some of the sort of creative freedom to some of the directors, or perhaps maybe you gave them too much freedom, I don't know, but a lot of people definitely wouldn't mind if the second one in the most recent trilogy was remade, because not many people were happy with it. Reptilian, pass you the butter. Dip those socks. Yeah. And it's funny because all these Star Wars movies have been so like lackluster. I mean, the one thing, and I know it's been out for a while, so I can kind of spoil it for you guys, but the one thing that is even made me feel remotely excited while I was watching it was whenever in the Han Solo movie, when they showed, what the fuck's his name, Darth Maul. Darth Maul was apparently reporting to the girl from Game of Thrones, and that was her her Sith liege lord or whatever. And I was like, oh dude, Darth Maul movie would be freaking sick. But at the same time, I could see them ruining it too, so you never know. Gothic, you're Ravenclaw, Cassie's Slytherin. Yeah. I've only watched, I think I watched like 3 of the Harry Potter movies, and didn't read the books, I remember attempting, I was definitely, believe it or not, when I was in elementary school, I was a slow reader, and now it's my job, but basically it took me a long time to feel confident in my reading skills. I remember going into 3rd grade, and our first day there, I was so nervous because I had to pick pick books that we were going to read during book time or whatever. The silent reading was, I think, what it was called. And hey, Ryan Brown with the 2 says, love the channel and great content, have an idea. Oh, what is that idea, Mr. Ryan Brown? Well, thank you for the 2. But yeah, we went into the library and I just picked out a bunch of Dr. Seuss books because I was like, I'm kind of an idiot. I don't know how to read it all, and I'm going to embarrass myself if I try anything. Like chapter books were like legitimately terrifying to me. In 3rd grade, I just like could not wrap my head around how some kids were able to just burn through it. And but yeah, eventually all that kind of stuff just kind of worked its way out in the wash. It's very strange. But Smelly Web, who else is British? I don't know, who is British in here? We got some British folk from across the pond. I guess we're starting this stream here in a very short little bit, so I hope you guys got your butter socks on and you're ready to get juicy. Lila, you read the whole series in 4th grade. Absolutely amazing. I'm impressed. My pastor's kid is like a reading genius. Like you give her a book, she just burns through it and like instantaneously. So some kids are just born gifted with those abilities, and I feel like others kind of have to grind at them a little bit. Oh, Fondage. I haven't seen Fondage in forever. How are you? Galactic give British ancestry. That's good. I think we all might. Cassie's honorary Brit. Eat butter out of the packet. Heck yeah, that's like the only way to do it. Read time. Soup time. Alright, so now we're switching over to my good friend Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse for his Lovecraftian Darkness 8-hour mega mix to set the mood for some spooky stories tonight. Do I like One Piece? Is One Piece an anime? That sounds like an anime. I don't think I've seen it though. Dolan, I posted on your birthday. Alright. I'm glad. Well, first off, happy birthday. We've got quite a few birthdays here tonight. Hopefully we have enough cake to go around. Can you guys check and see if there's any cake? Natalia, you like to draw while I read? That's cool. We're already up to 300 viewers, guys, so that's pretty dope starting out the stream, honestly. Definitely keep clicking that like button. Share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, Instaslam, wherever social media has infected our mind. Be sure to infect them further with my voice. What's the difference between margarine and butter? Let's see. Margarine. A butter substitute made from vegetable oils or animal fats. Interesting. Let's see, butter. Alright, so butter is a pale yellow edible fatty substance made by churning cream and used as a spread or in cooking. Yeah, it's interesting whenever you cook with different oils, just how different the different things taste. Because Insta Spam, the ultimate cooking spray, yeah. Like I'll cook with butter or something for a period of time, but then I'll cook with coconut oil. And I love coconut oil. It tastes so good. It just makes things like sweeter, even if it's primarily just like fat and cholesterol and that kind of stuff. But it tastes yummy. You would say to order a pizza while listening, but pizza take too long to order. Yeah. If you ordered a pizza now, you definitely would get it probably by the middle of the stream. Maybe even before that. Alright guys, so this first one is The Death of Brian Wells. August 28th, 2003. Brian Douglas Wells, a pizza delivery driver from Erie, Pennsylvania, begins his day like any other. Despite having worked as a delivery driver for coming up on 10 years, he hates the job. But as a high school dropout, he has few other options to pay rent. Just before 11 a.m., he drives over to... Oh, fuck. I have no idea how to say this shit. Kearsarge? Kearsarga? There's all these places, like, I just have no idea how to say. This is going to be completely wrong, probably.
Kearsarge.
Kearsarge. Sometimes Wikipedia has pronunciations, but a lot of the times when it comes to finding pronunciations on Google, it's like next to impossible. Because I don't know why, there's just no easy way to go about it. And Google has all these like pronunciation web pages that it leads you to, but it's just like it's just nonsense. Oh no, it's okay to count mistakes. That's all part of the fun, guys. I think it gives gives you something to troll me with, which I am more than happy to welcome all the trolls. Trolls are welcome in the Let's Read house. And then there's all these YouTube videos. Like if you ever typed in a place and then pronunciation and had YouTube videos up, like Emma saying, or this one where it has a picture of like the United States map or wherever with an enunciation, it literally is always a robot, and it's always wrong. Like, but you know for a fact someone had to take the time to make that video, render it, upload it to YouTube, and never during the process in which they were typing in how to say or pronounce this place or that thing that they were like, that doesn't sound right at all. Unless there's like a YouTube or an algorithm or a robot that is just in charge of making these pronunciations. It's just so stupid. Anyways, I'm just gonna roll with it, and I'm gonna get flamed in the comments of the video probably. You said the thing wrong. That's fine with me. Do I like jazz? I love jazz. Jazz is amazing. Just before 11 a.m., he drives over to Kearsarge Plaza, just a short walk from Lake Erie. This is where his place of work is located, a small pizza place known as Mamma Mia Pizzeria. He delivers pies during the lunch rush, returning to Mamma Mia's in time to receive one more delivery order in the afternoon. The order is 2 pizzas, to be delivered to 8631 Peach Street, an address a few miles from the pizzeria. Brian has never delivered to this address before, but he knows Peach Street well. It's home to a handful of car dealerships and a family-owned landscaping service. Brian figures he'll be delivering to one of these. But what Brian doesn't know is that this is the last delivery he will ever make. When Brian arrives on Peach Street, he discovers the delivery address is down a dirt road, just near a BMW showroom. But at the end of the dusty, unpaved pathway is nothing but a radio tower. Brian gets out of his car, pizzas in hand, and looks around for the recipients. What happened next is unclear and has been the subject of years' worth of debate. Well, welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you can finally catch me live. This story is being told in kind of a less common approach. It's almost being told in sort of a documentary-sounding fashion. What happened next is unclear and has been the subject of years is that is the weirdest thing. It's years worth. What happened next is unclear and has been the subject of years worth of debate between professional law enforcement and amateur sleuths alike. But the most likely explanation is what follows. As Brian waited for his potential customers to appear, a group of masked people emerged from the nearby woods. They were armed, keeping the terrified Brian at gunpoint while they produced a series of items from a rucksack, one of which was something that resembled a slave collar, 3 rings of stainless steel with some kind of weird device attached. The masked individuals then attached the collar to Brian's neck, handed him a sophisticated homemade shotgun, as well as 9 pages of handwritten notes. As the masked assailants fled the area, Brian began to read the instructions written on the pieces of paper he was given. They are addressed to Bomb Hostage. Brian realizes in utter horror that the device around his neck is a remotely detonated bomb collar. The notepaper in his hand details a series of strictly timed tasks involving collecting keys that will delay the detonation of the bomb collar locked around his neck. When he finds the final key, he will be able to defuse the bomb. Shit. When he finds the final key, he will be able to defuse the bomb. The notes are also warning Brian. God damn it, sorry. Piscator, this is about pizza because Brian's a pizza delivery guy. The notes are also warning Brian Wells that he would be under constant surveillance and scrutiny, that any attempt to contact emergency services or to remove the bomb collar would result in instant detonation and therefore his own death. Scrawled on the bottom of the handwritten instructions was a terrifying warning: act now, think later, or you will die. It must have been a living nightmare, a hellishly surreal ordeal. What happened to Brian Wells that day is something that most of us have never even experienced in our nightmares, but for Brian, it was a brutal, mind-bending reality. The first task Brian was given by his masked captors was to calmly and quietly enter the PNC Bank branch on the very same street he found himself on. He was to hand the teller a pre-written note included in his bundle of notes. Upon inspection, he saw was a... Hey, Venikin's Art with the 2 says, Yo, Joel, what's the Predict Kitty status? Heart, y'all. Oh yeah. He is right here behind me, having a nice little snooze. Thank you, Venikins. It's good to see ya. Yeah, we're almost at 350 peoples. Does anyone know this story? Because I'm from Pennsylvania, and I feel like I vaguely remember hearing about this. I don't know if you guys were familiar. Upon inspection, he saw it was a demand for $250,000 in cash. The note instructed him to use his homemade shotgun to threaten and intimidate anyone who refused to cooperate. Brian had no choice. He entered the bank branch around 2:30 that afternoon, following the instructions to the letter as he handed the teller the demand note. The teller's face must have turned white as a sheet. The note also stated that Brian's bomb collar would explode if the full cash amount was not handed over. Unable to access the bank's vault in such a short period of time, the teller gave Brian Wells a bag of cash amounting to just short of $9,000. Brian departed the bank as quickly as he'd entered, hurrying back to his car to continue his tasks. It is then that authorities received their first 911 call relating to the twisted events. A witness described a male leaving the bank with a bomb or something wrapped around his neck. 15 minutes after police received that first 911 call, a patrol car spotted him standing near his Suzuki Geo Metro hatchback. He was promptly arrested, with police putting him in cuffs and forcing him to sit on the tarmac of the parking lot. Wells told police that 3 masked people had placed the bomb collar around his neck and instructed him to rob the bank. Failure to comply would result in his own explosive demise. Police must have been flabbergasted. It's not an everyday thing, something so bizarre. Sorry. There's a video of him blowing up. Jesus, dude. That's terrifying. That's like a live leak situation. God, that is quite literally a nightmare. You're like, this is the end of my life. Police must have been flabbergasted. It's not every day that such a bizarre, convoluted crime occurs before their very eyes. Whatever they felt, responding officers did nothing in the way of attempting to disarm the explosive device. Instead, once it was clear that Wells had no means of detonating the device himself, they waited for Erie Bomb Squad while they focused on evacuating the area of civilians. But time was running out, and Brian Wells knew it. If he was indeed being constantly monitored by his captors, they would know their plan was falling apart. At 3:18 p.m., just 3 minutes before the arrival of the bomb squad, Brian's captors detonated the bomb collar and blasted a huge, fist-sized hole in Brian's chest. There he lay, disoriented and bleeding to death, until finally his life slipped away from him. The horrifying event was actually captured on camera by local news crews, but thanks to a technical fault at a local TV station, Brian's death was never actually televised. However, thanks to a leak somewhere between the local station, WJET-TV, and the FBI, The video somehow found its way onto numerous video sharing websites and at present is actually still available to watch. Perhaps most disturbingly, police investigators It blew a hole through his chest. Holy fuck, dude. This is honestly like... It reminds me of, What the heck is it? I want to play a game. What's that movie called? How am I forgetting this? Saw. Yeah, Saw. My bad. Yeah, that's terrifying. Eric K, thank you. Thank you. Jovi, that's okay. It's okay to be late. Time is an illusion. Perhaps most disturbingly, police investigators I said it again. Perhaps most disturbingly, police investigators later traveled the route given to Wells on the notepaper and discovered they could not complete it given the allotted time. Essentially, however successful Brian would have completed his given tasks, his captors were always planning to detonate the bomb collar to silence the only man capable of identifying them. When the truth surrounding the incident finally came out, the world reeled in horror at the greed and malice of the perpetrators. The plot was hatched by a woman by the name of Marjorie Deal Armstrong, a college-educated woman with a master's degree from Gannon College, PA. Deal Armstrong required $250,000 in order to pay for the contract killing of her own. Deal Armstrong required $250 in order to pay for the contract killing of her own father, whose estate had once been valued at almost $2 million. In an interview conducted before his death, Harold Deal reported that he had cut off financial support for his daughter decades earlier due to her criminal behavior and failure to hold a steady job. This was obviously enough of an insult to his daughter that she decided he had to die. But what's so tragic and evil is that Deal Armstrong chose... It's so hard to say last names, dude. Last names, places, like, I'm just always going to get it wrong and fudge it up. Alright, But what's so tragic and evil is that Deal Armstrong chose to rag others down into the hole that she was in. It wasn't enough that her own life was a mess. She was so selfish that she would choose to murder an innocent pizza delivery driver who had no idea what he was driving towards that day on Peach Street, Pennsylvania. Hey Terry, thank you, yeah. Trying my best. I think the mistakes give away that I'm live. But if you guys want to hear this video in its normal, unedited fashion, be sure to tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you'll get to hear it in its beautiful, full form. Oh boy. Alright, so pizza delivery in Detroit. Voyeurism scares me more than anything. Yeah, just a bunch of weird pervs. Want to catch a high, peeking in your window. Bigger, raw, and uncut. I was a pizza delivery driver for 8 months here in Midtown Detroit. It felt like years. I have had some real terrible jobs since I dropped out of college, but being a delivery driver was by far the worst thing I've ever had to do for money. It goes way but... Fuck, dude. It goes way beyond just being talked to like... What the fuck? It goes way beyond just being talked to like a moron by some heavy-set Armenian shop owner, or being screwed out of a tip by some white trash bimbo who lies about the lateness of her order. I've been robbed, beaten up, and almost killed while on the job. The first time was when I was delivering to an apartment building over near 8 Mile. I had just gotten out of my car and was grabbing the pies from the back seat when I saw this group of teenagers approaching my car. They start making jokes about how beat up my old Taurus was, and I'd be lying if I said they had no grounds to. That thing was a complete rust box. They're talking trash, I'm giving as good as I get, and it seems like it's just a bit of fun. That's when I feel one of their hands in my pockets, trying to grab the folded stack of dollar bills I use for change. I'm mad, but when I turn, one of the kids has this huge knife out, telling me to hand over the cash. I just kind of reacted. I hurled the only thing I had available to me right at the knife wielder. Now, I didn't expect this, but as I throw the pizza box, the thing just sort of falls apart in midair, freeing the pie up to land right on the kid's face. I always knew our shop had a reputation for delivering piping hot pizza. I guess that's why it's so busy. But the way that kid screaming... But the way that kid was screaming when practically molten hot cheese was getting stuck to his thieving face, wow, it was ear-splitting. I saw that same kid a few days later. He had a bandage over the side of his face the pizza hit, and I'd be lying if that didn't make me smile. It wasn't even the robberies that were the worst, though, because a few years back, something started happening to pizza delivery drivers here in Midtown that's like something out of a horror film. A big part of gang initiations around here is taking a potential member out to jump someone. But since they were doing this in public, the cops got wise to it pretty quickly. After trios of scumbag Cripper blood clones were getting locked up on the daily, the gangsters decided to smarten up a little. God knows whose idea it was, but some way, somehow, someone must have had the idea to ambush delivery drivers after someone must have had the idea to ambush delivery drivers after luring them to abandoned spots throughout the city. The first I heard of this was a guy from another shop getting a call to a quiet, mostly derelict neighborhood on the edge of town. He'd arrived at this big red brick house, walked up to the front steps, then had apparently seen a handwritten sign on the door that read something like, "Doorbell broken, come around back. Tip in it for you." Tip. That's the magic word that must have done the trick. Pizza box in hand, the guy walks in the backyard of this big old house where he sees some kid, a pistol in his hand. No one knows just what went down, but it ended with the delivery driver being shot in the head and neck before their assailant stole nothing more than $20 in change in single bills. His funeral was about a month ago now. A few of the drivers at my shop stopped by to pay their respects. But I didn't. I kind of felt like I'd be imposing. Besides, I never mentioned it to anyone, but I always thought that the guy was an idiot. No one deserves to lose their life over a delivery job, but this was right in the middle of this whole gang initiation thing happening. Who drives out to an abandoned neighborhood after getting an order of any topping, any soda? After that, the shop I was delivering for started a blacklist of neighborhoods that were forbidden to delivery. Forbidden to delivery. Yo, Suh, with the $3 says, when do you think you will do a gaming stream? Oh man, yeah. Probably never. Not to be poopy, but like, kind of like when I release a video and you guys see that it's like another narrator. Like sometimes when I'm away, I'll have other narrators fill in on the days that I can't put out content. And you kind of experience a sensation where you're like, oh, it's not Let's Read's voice. I don't want to listen to this shit. So in a similar fashion, there's a part of me that is apprehensive about having other people on my channel now, just in general, but also doing any kind of stream that would deviate from what you guys are used to, which in this scenario is narrating stories. So I just want to keep giving you guys what you're expecting, you know what I mean, for the most part, or at least giving you the best content I can give, and I just don't really feel that being a gaming streamer is really my niche right now. It seems as if though it's best for me to stick to reading stories. Mornida says, right, I'm off. Finally sorted out my Twitch and Streamlabs OBS issues, so off to stream. Sorry, Joel, I promise to stick around next stream. Have a good stream, though. Bye, everyone. Mornida, thanks for being here, and I hope your stream goes well. Hope you're playing some Overwatch. Insert pizza time Spider-Man meme. Yeah. Pizza time. Like the Ninja Turtles. Like when I play Overwatch with my friends. It's kind of cringy for me because I get mad when I play Overwatch and I'm just like not... It's just stupid. I mean, I like playing the game, but I just come off like an idiot. And I feel like with this I can, like, interact with you guys more. And a lot more people show up, which is good. Like, we have 400 people right now. Like, that's huge. If I would be doing a video game stream right now, I literally would have 20 people, and it just really wouldn't be worth my time because I could just go play video games, by myself or with my friends or whatever, and not have to worry about, like, trying to pay attention to chat and then also all of, like, the troubleshooting issues I'd have to work out through my actual gaming stream aspect. Like, right now I have my stream at like 1500 kilobytes per second, or maybe I'm wrong about that, but basically it's very, very low demand for a lot of people. And if I were to do gaming, I'd have to bump that up to like 6500, and I don't even know if I would even be able to do that very well with the internet that I have. And a lot of good streamers, they have like 2 computers, like one is playing the game, one is streaming the game. It's just a complicated process that I just don't really want to get into. And since I have this going for me, I'm thankful that you guys are here for this, and you get to see a little bit of my personality and all that good stuff, and I get to chat with you guys and pretend I'm reading to a room full of 415 people. Why do you think they call him Little Caesar? What's the most classic video game you've played? Classic? I don't know. I mean, going back to the old Zelda games and Mario, I played some Atari games, but it's like, for the most part, when you go back and play old games that you didn't play before and you don't have that nostalgia effect, it's all the games just kind of blow. Yeah, never change a winning horse. That's a great point. Hold on a second. I'm going to let my cat out. I think he wants out. Oh, Mike Tyson Punch Out Pong. Oh, yeah. Hut of Dominoes. After that, the shop I was delivering for started a blacklist of neighborhoods that were forbidden to delivery after dark. But even that didn't keep us entirely safe. A buddy of mine at the same shop managed to get himself jacked in the middle of the day, delivering to a fancy residential neighborhood. Some gang members had busted into a house whose owners were on vacation. They ring the doorbell. Oops. He rings the doorbell. They pull him inside, then proceed to rob him of the maximum $20 in change. When he tells them truthfully that was all he had on him, they beat him half to death before stealing his car. He was in the hospital for a week while his jaw was wired shut. And that leads me to the last delivery I ever drove for Armin, the Armenian pizza place. The fancy townhouse beating my buddies suffered. Oops, 1 second. Closing out Discord just so it's easier on the computer. Also, join my Discord if you guys haven't already, and we can chat in there from time to time. Sometimes, Lila will tell you she can catch me in the voice chat randomly from time to time, and you guys can get to know me as a human if you are so inclined. This leads me to my talking about Armin. Where's Armin? Oh, okay, drove. Okay. The fancy townhouse beating my buddies suffered had me paranoid. Borrowing a .44 revolver from my buddies started me thinking that maybe I should just go ahead and quit. It was surreal in the extreme, being given a little rundown of how to load and fire the thing, where best to shoot someone if you didn't want to outright end their life. It felt like I was enlisting in the army or something. I had to remind myself this was a freaking pizza delivery job. So I rock up to the address I've been given, the 2 pizzas on the back seat, when I notice it's really quiet. There's a public park on the other side of the street, and thanks to a row of bushes, I can't see anything approaching from that angle. I get a bad feeling, like a really bad feeling, and take out the .44 from my glove box. That's when I see this dude emerge from the bushes on the other side of the street, and he's wearing one of those clown masks. This was right when all those attention-starved idiots were putting on clown masks and scaring people for the sake of getting that perfect viral video. But I didn't take the chance. I just started tapping on the glass with the revolver in hand, looking over at the guy with the gun plainly in view. He stops, takes one look at the revolver, and then reaches behind his back into his waistband. I just remember cracking the window and shouting, "Don't do it, man. Don't do it. You don't want to get shot." I'm not a particularly brave guy, but I don't know. The thought of ending up with a wired jaw, the thought of that poor kid who went out to work one night and never came home. I actually think I was ready to end this guy in the clown mask. He just wasn't a real person to me. He was a living embodiment of everything I hated about living in this freaking city. I kept the gun pointed at him as I drove away, the 2 pizzas still sitting in the back seat. I quit the moment I arrived at the shop. Armin didn't even act surprised when I handed him back my uniform and collected the money I was owed for the shift. It's been a while since I quit that job, but I still think about it most days. It's in the news all the time. Some driver getting robbed or beat or worse. Everyone seems terrified of automation right now, but it can't come soon enough for some jobs. Jobs that just aren't worth losing your life over. Wiggle, woggle, wobble. Ah, yeah. I think I might actually start the video with that story because I feel like it kind of encompasses more of the types of stories that I read on this channel rather than the first one. And that's actually a really good story, just hearing about all the weird stuff that happened to delivery drivers in Detroit. Not just weird, but also very, very sad. So, yeah, just another. You guys always say, great, now I'm afraid to, order a pizza or be a driver. Or great, let's read right whenever I was starting my new job as a Pizza Hut delivery person. Rosello says, love your content, bro. I work the night shift and these stories keep me company. Nice. Yeah, the night shift. Yeah, the sniff is because I feel like sometimes whenever I'm reading, I can hear a cracking or something in my sinuses. And I don't know if it's just mucus or what the heck it is, but it just sometimes get picked up by the mic and it sounds really weird. Leon, you're doing screenwriting. What kind of screenwriting are you doing? Writing on a screen. Sean, you work at a Pizza Hut? Yeah, my roommate orders quite a few pizzas from Pizza Hut. I like their pizzas, but I definitely am more deviated septum. That's definitely a possibility. Sometimes I kind of will have to push on it at the top and it will crack over. Cracking in my sinus. It's not necessarily a cracking. It's just I think it's just sort of like a clicking, as if though you have something that's, I don't really know, blocking your passages or something. Yeah, and it's really hot in this room too. If I ever get a house, I really want to get one with central air, just so if I stream, I could be in a room that's actually comfortable and not, because if I have the AC on that I normally have in this room, it'd just be so loud and ruin the stories that I'm recording. Arby, welcome. You got the meats. Brittany, you watch the videos every morning when you do makeup and freak yourself out. Yeah. I'd be interested in people who listen to it in the morning. That would definitely set a different vibe for your day. Bohama Malone, I'm sorry. You're getting the real me right now. You're going to have to hear about my sinuses. My sinuses. So this one's called Definitely Not Durian. About 10 years ago, I used to deliver pizzas for this small independent pizza place near Beacon Hill in Boston. If you live anywhere near Charles Street, you might know which one I'm talking about. Anyway, it was a pretty good job. The place was almost consistently busy and the boss was an awesome guy, so we ended up getting paid a living wage on top of the tips we made. One evening shift, stuff got weird. Really weird. So although my job title was just delivery driver, the other drivers and I justified our somewhat inflated wage packet by helping out around the shop during quiet periods. We helped out with cleaning, aided the kitchen staff in prepping their ingredients, and occasionally we helped answer the phone to take delivery orders. So this one shift, the phone starts going when I'm helping cleaning out one of the pizza ovens. No one rushes to answer, so I wipe my hands off and rush over to the counter to take the call. When I pick up, I can barely understand the guy on the other end. He sounds very old and has this raspy, gravelly voice that sounded like he'd been the subject of some kind of throat operation at some point in his life. I tried my best to make out what he was saying, I really did, going so far as turning the volume on the handset up high and sticking a finger to the ear free of the phone. But I got nothing. Absolutely nothing. I ended up giving the guy a heartfelt apology before telling him I'd pass him along to the manager. When I handed the phone to my manager, I hung around just to make sure it wasn't just me who couldn't understand the elderly guy on the other end. My boss greets him before this confused expression comes over his face as the guy starts talking. "Excuse me, sir? I think the line is bad. Could you repeat that?" He maintained his politeness at first, but like me, soon lost his patience with the poor old guy. Sir, I'm sorry, but I can't really understand you. Let me take you into the office where it's a little quieter." He placed his hand over the receiver so the guy couldn't hear, then made some comment about how this dude needed Meals on Wheels and not a pizza delivery. He heads off into his office with a grin while I carry on with the daily cleaning checklist. About 15 minutes go by when the boss emerges from his office. I think he's about to tell me how he hung up on the dude after battling to understand him, but he's still on the phone. Yes, sir, of course. Sir, right away, sir. We'll keep you updated, thank you. Thank you for your business. Goodbye. Different phone call, I figured. Absolutely no way could that be the same guy who had called with the raspy voice. Taking an order doesn't take 15 whole minutes. I asked my boss what the deal was with the old guy who called, if he'd managed to make sense of anything he was saying. He doesn't answer. He just puts his jacket on, tells me I need to watch the business while he heads downtown. I ask where he's going. He just replies, "Chinatown, won't be long." There's only one reason my boss would have driven down to Chinatown so late: ingredients. There are a couple of late-night grocery stores in that area, some of which sell cheap, quality produce. Only, I'd been helping prep all the toppings and whatnot myself along with the chef. I knew well enough we weren't lacking anything. When he returns, he has one of those airtight coolers in his hand, the same kind we use to pick up fresh anchovies and shrimp from the fish market. He then asks us to make a basic cheese pizza and to bring it to his office when we're done. We ask no questions. Boss man usually gets a pizza in his office during the latter part of the shift, and he usually asks for different things each night. So we thought absolutely nothing of his request. I box the pizza up, take it to his office, and knock on the door. When he opens, this disgusting smell hit me. I mean, it was honestly the most gag-inducing stench I'd ever smelled. Before I even get a chance to ask, he grabbed the pizza box from my hands and shut the office door in my face. Whatever it was reeked that bad that it crept throughout the entire back of the house, to the point the chefs were hollering and asking who just crapped their pants. I mean, they weren't far off. The smell reminded me of when my apartment building's septic tank got backed up. It really did smell like raw sewage or something, just this rotten smell. I really wanted to know just what that smell was, but I also had no intentions of going anywhere near the boss's office again, lest I get another hit of that stench. But when he comes out of the office, that smell starts wafting around the back of the house again, and with this pained look on his face, he asks the two drivers on duty, myself included, which one of us wants a delivery. It's clear at this point that whatever stinks so bad, it's now on the pizza. The other driver just refuses. He delivers in his car and knew well that it'd take days, maybe a whole week to get that smell out of the furnishings. My boss is kinda panicking at this point. We have a sit-down restaurant too, and we're in danger of the smell wafting into that area. He promises me a huge nightly bonus if I deliver the pizza. But I demand to know what's on it, that... Fuck, sorry, that just sounded so weird. Exactly what's on that thing. Okay. There's they chopped up a dead body from Chinatown, put it right on there. Or perhaps they sell poop in Chinatown. He promises me a huge nightly bonus if I deliver the pizza, but I demand to know exactly what's on that thing before I ride it over to the guy's house on my scooter. He takes me out back into the alley behind the pizza place, then breaks it down for me. Apparently the guy had ordered durian on his pizza. Yeah, I needed that explained to me too. So turns out the durian fruit originates in Southeast Asia, hence why my boss had to visit Chinatown to get one. They're massive, with a spiky texture to the skin, but pieces of the inner flesh can be bought pre-prepped from certain Asian grocery stores. I read that some people find the smell of the fruit to be sweet and fragrant, but I am not one of those, not by a long shot. But I did need the money, so I took the pizza around front to my scooter, threw it in the luggage compartment at the rear, then drove out to the address I'd been given. When I knocked on the house, the door was answered by a decrepit-looking elderly man with the small plastic tubes of an oxygen tank running from his nostrils. I had my suspicions for a moment, but then he spoke, and I knew. It was the old guy that had been calling up about an hour before, the one I had barely been able to understand. He smiled wide when I handed him the box, and instead of the usual fold of bills I'm usually handed, he passes me this thick envelope, obviously full of cash.
"No, change, please,"
he wheezed, holding his finger to his throat.
"Tip is included."
I opened my mouth to thank the guy, but my words caught in my throat. I was fighting off the stench of that durian pizza already, but Seeing that guy begin to salivate and drool when the smell of that thing hit him, I couldn't remember a time I'd been as creeped out as that. "Thanks, enjoy," I managed to blurt out. Any more and I think I'd have gagged right in front of the guy. He was weird, but I didn't want to insult him, not when he tipped so generously. It was a generous tip. Not long after I handed the envelope. Oh, okay. Hey, Rook X with the 2 says, driving from Rhode Island to Baltimore. Thanks for going live. Absolutely, Root. Be safe out there. Thank you for the 2. Not long after I handed the envelope to my boss in his office. Okay. Not long after I handed the envelope to my boss in his office, he emerged with 3 crisp $100 bills. They were mine. It felt pretty good having been tipped so handsomely, but one feeling overrode it. I ended up knocking on my boss's door for a serious talk. I told him in no uncertain terms that I wouldn't be delivering that kind of pizza again. The stench was clinging to the storage compartment on the rear of my scooter, and being summertime, almost every person I rode past slow enough complained about smelling something rotten. $300 was a sweet tip, but I'd be spending a third of that on cleaning products for every delivery of durian. Thankfully, my boss relented. He told me he too had found the whole thing pretty harrowing, but the guy had basically made him an offer he couldn't refuse. "We hit our weekly target 3 days earlier because of this guy," my boss explained. But he did promise me that we'd be making no more trips to Chinatown to buy durian just for one customer with too much money. So nothing more was said about it, and we received no more calls from the guy. That was until about 3 months later. It was pretty much the same setup as the night he originally called. Slow business, helping out with cleaning tasks and food prep when the phone goes again. I answer, only to hear, shit. "Smells like roadkill." Crazy, I guess all farts smell different. Yeah, they certainly have their uniqueness about them. I answer, only to hear the familiar raspy voice on the other end. I instantly knew who it was. This time, without listening to so much of a word he said, I just politely informed him that I'd be handing him over to the manager and thanked him for his patience. Knocking on the boss man's door, I hold my hand over the phone's receiver and whisper the words, "Hey, it's Durian guy," at my boss, who in turn rolls his eyes and nods as if to say I'll handle it. I walk back to my cleaning task with a grin, thanking all that is holy that I wouldn't have to drive halfway across Boston smelling like a latrine. Latrine? I walk back to my cleaning task with a grin, thanking all that is holy that I wouldn't have to drive halfway across Boston smelling like a porta potty. Only, you can say what... Fuck. Sorry, guys. Only you can see where this goes, right? Boss man comes out of his office with a pained look on his face, giving it the old, "Yes, sir. No, sir. Right away, sir." Routine again. My stomach drops. I know what's coming. I remember shaking my head before he'd even asked, just listing off 1,000 ways of saying no, cutting him off from even asking the question. No way, nope, no chance, nuh-uh, not today, I ain't the one. He doubled the amount. My boss replied, "What am I supposed to do?" I couldn't believe it. If what he said was true, I'd be getting a $600 tip from this guy. $600. That was just over my monthly rent costs with about 20 minutes of work. I'd be covering like 3/4 of my living costs. Boss man had a point. Just what were we supposed to do? So yet again, Boss Man drives down to the late-night grocery store over in Boston's Chinatown to pick up this mystery durian fruit that had... So yet again, Boss Man drives down to the late-night grocery store over in Boston's Chinatown to pick up this mystery durian fruit that I'd been reading so much about. While I waited, I grabbed a fistful of the air fresheners we normally handle in the bathroom and started to pretty much decorate the rear of my scooter with them. I also took a full can of Febreze with me from our cleaning supplies, planning on spraying it tactically whenever I came to a red light. Last time an open-topped convertible caught the smell of the durian on the breeze, the girl passenger almost puked right into her footwell. I actually start prepping the whole affair myself, too, getting the pizza base ready, opening up the back door, and turning up the kitchen's extractor fans way high to maximize the chances of the stench wafting through the store again. But this time, when I get to the delivery address, curiosity got the better of me. I had to peek at this guy's pizza, if only to see what durian looked like. This was in the street like a block away from the address, nice open space, so I didn't expect the smell to be as intensely bad. Long story short, whatever was on that pizza was not durian. Like I said, I mentioned I googled the fruit when I got home to read up on just what exactly durian fruit is all about. What was on that pizza was some kind of meat. Not the yellowy, creamy-looking flesh from inside the fruit. This stuff was brown, blackening around the edges, and was clearly some kind of aged or decaying meat. I shut the box and tried not to think about what I saw, delivering it to the old guy, watching him start to drool again as he passed me the envelope, even thicker this time with bundles of dollar bills. As soon as I got back to the pizza place, I banged on my boss's door. He answers with an irritated look on his face since I pounded on his door so hard, but I didn't care. I had questions, a lot of them. Durian, huh? Yeah, we talked about this. It stinks, but we're making a buttload of money from this guy's order. I looked at the pizza. My boss didn't say anything. He just stares back at me for a moment or two, then invites me inside of his office to talk in private. I don't know what you think you saw, but there was nothing more than durian fruit on that pizza. I told him I knew that was a bunch of nonsense, that I'd Googled durian fruit that same night I'd first delivered to that guy, that I knew well what it looked like, and whatever was on that pizza certainly was not durian flesh. He sighed, breaking eye contact. What was on that pizza, man? He didn't answer. I asked him if it was legal. He didn't answer. Without a word, he took my $600 from the envelope and held it out to me. I took it, but only after giving him a week's notice that I'd be quitting. If he couldn't be honest with me, I couldn't continue to work there. We barely said another word to each other for the rest of my time working there. The final few days, he reeked of booze whenever we passed each other in the back. Whatever it was took a serious toll on Boss Man's mental health. Now, about a year later, I'm working this decent little office job downtown. Nothing to shout about, but it was way better pay for essentially just being a copy machine mule. That, and the worst smell I had to encounter was printer toner and my coworker's coffee breath. But one balmy summer evening, I'm driving home to my apartment with my car's windows down. A scent catches my nostrils, something so hideous it makes me cough and gag as I'm sat at a red light. I look around, seeing a guy riding a small scooter. The rear storage compartment has the logo of the pizza place I used to work at. The stench is horribly familiar to me. It's the stench I once thought was durian flesh. The same stench I came to... It's the stench I once thought was durian fruit. And the same stench I came to learn was definitely not durian. Wonder if it's like dead dog meat or something like that. That'd be weird. The butler did it. It's always the butler. Say psych now. Psych. Uno, dos, tres. You a thought, though. Dead body smell. Oh, wow. While I was reading that story, we got up to 575 viewers. So that's pretty... Bear pancreas. That is a definitive possibility. It's the black goo. Probably gets the meat off of corpses. Yeah, I just thinking of sort of like a black market situation going on there. You would deliver it for $600. Hell, $300 sounded good. Yeah, I know, right? Like, screw it. You just come in for... Hopefully this guy orders weekly and you can just do one delivery. You're like, I'll deliver whatever mystery meat's on there. Rat meat tastes better than dog. Have you had it? Hey, David Poole, what's up, bro? It's Dookie Pizza. Yeah, we're moving up here in the world with number of people. Hit that like button if you guys have not already. Share this with your friends, family, with the aliens, with the Area 51 aliens that you're clapping their cheeks. Is that meme dead yet? Pig anus. Yeah, that could be a possibility. AJ, thank you. You were thinking it was, yeah, that's funny. That's what I thought. It was like, this has gotta be some, like, disgusting mystery meat. Rosella says, suggestion, you should have a little sound thingy when you're finished reading a story like in the videos. Yeah, that could be a possibility. I wonder if I'd be able to, like, could put that in a YouTube video. Maybe I could upload that as an unlisted YouTube video or have it on a soundboard somewhere. Dave, I don't care. Whatever you want to call me. No biggie. Doink, doink daddy, as many have said in the past. Rotten fermented cat liver. Oh, that's my favorite. Would you rather have rotten fermented cat liver or pineapple on your pizza? Rotten cat liver. Am I going to clap some alien cheeks? Well, I like to think that whatever that was just like some like huge marketing, viral marketing thing to get people to go to like some music festival in Nevada or something. Like they're going to call it like Storming Area 51 Music Festival, and it was all just like a big ruse to get people to talk about it. And then they're like, well, maybe we should just go storm Area 51, but also listen to music and get real messed up. Anchovies. I've never had them. Alright, so this is called The Boy with the Mask. Ainsley Hartman says, your mom loves my voice. Well, tell your mother I said hey. I've had a few delivery jobs that have given me the creeps. One or two that I was pretty sure I was about to be robbed. Another was a gunfight between gang members unfolding in the street I was delivering to, right as I was turning onto it. But these are just occupational hazards. Yeah, it sucks, but I guess you do get over them. Only one delivery job really, truly terrified me. The only one that scares me to think about even today. So we get an order from an address that none of us drivers had ever delivered to before. This normally causes some suspicion among us since we're always pretty wary whenever delivering to a new address. A fair few first-time deliveries have resulted in an address getting blacklisted. Sometimes they try to stiff you for money or some other scam to get free pizza. Generally speaking, the driver take turns. The driver takes turn. Generally speaking, the driver's take. Okay. Laura, my voice is like a massage of your ears. Is this true? Drunk Peeps rating Area 51. We're going for it. Ever have Caesar dressing on anchovies? Oh, if you've ever had Caesar dressing, you've had anchovies. That's interesting. I don't know if I'd want that. Generally speaking, the drivers take turns delivering to a new address, and this time, it just so happened to be my turn. So once the order is completed and the pizzas are boxed up, I take them out to my car and punch the address into my sat-nav. It turns out the address is right on the edge of our delivery area, pretty much in the middle of absolute nowhere. It dawns on me that this could be the oldest trick in the book. Call the pizza into some hard-to-reach location, then demand it to be free once it takes more than 45 minutes to deliver. But, to my relief, I make it out onto this old dirt road with time to spare. Yet my relief doesn't last long, not when I see the state of the address I'm delivering to. The house is so run down it looks like a squat, like it's been commandeered by the homeless as a place to avoid sleeping rough. There's a musty old pickup in the driveway, its wheels all askew from years of misuse. I mean, the place was just the very definition of haunted house. Needless to say, I wasn't expecting a particularly generous tip. As I take the pizzas out from the passenger seat of my car, I start hearing this faint, whining noise. My ears prick up immediately and I freeze, trying to work out just what the sound is and where it's coming from. I come to realize it's the sound of a violin being played, but more accurately, it was the sound of a violin being played very badly. These discording noises carried on as I walked up the dirt pathway toward the porch and the front door. Then the dragged of some old violin bow across. Oh, the sound. He dragged of the sound of. What is it? It says the dragged of some old violin bow across dry old strings that were way out of tune. Maybe the sound. Okay. The sound of some old violin bow being dragged across dry old strings that were way out of tune. Creepy, sure, but that's not what terrified me. When I knocked on the front door, the screaming cat violin sounds ceased instantly. A few moments later of silence when, A few moments of silence went by before I began to hear slow, heavy footsteps growing steadily closer. I can't be certain, but I'm almost sure I heard someone breathing on the other side, these heavy, labored breaths as I waited for the door to open. The silence was broken. The silence was broken by a metallic snap of the door unlocking, before hurried footfalls sounded on the other side. Someone had unlocked the door, then scampered away from it as if they were overtly skittish about visitors. Hello? I got your pizza order here. I remember asking, feeling the tension rise as silence once again engulfed the scene. Come inside, mister. A childish... Fuck. Samurai Master 13. You have been noticed. If you want to be a narrator, you got to clap alien cheeks. You got to do it. That's why I'm struggling right now. I haven't clapped enough Area 51ers yet, but I'm on my way. I'm coming for that gray booty. Or green. I don't know what color aliens are gonna be. Little green men. I remember asking. Come inside, mister. A childish voice came from the other side. I wanted to just turn tail and run at this point, But returning to the pizza place without the money for the pizzas would definitely mean a verbal or written warning from my manager. I already had one for turning up late. I couldn't afford another. So reluctantly, I took hold of the door handle, turned it, and walked inside. The interior of the house was bathed in darkness, only a handful of weak oil lamps to give me any sense of the layout. A figure was crouched on a nearby sofa, the old violin laying next to it.
There's 15 on the table there, mister.
The person sounded like a child, but they looked bigger than they should have. On the small, dusty coffee table in front of the couch, there was a pile of chants in the Wait, what? Pile of chants? Pile of chants? What the fuck? On the small, dusty... Guys, help me figure out what the fuck this is. On the small, dusty coffee table in the front of the couch, there was a pile of chants in little piles. Alright, so I'm just going to read forward a little bit to figure out what the hell they're talking about. Normally, I'd have taken issue with this, but to be honest, I am desperate to get out of there at one point. I'd have taken any form of currency. As I stooped down to start sliding the little pieces of coins, okay, into my cupped palm. Oh, change, okay. Oh, I'm an idiot, sorry. I'm an actual idiot, yeah. I'm like, what is chance? Is that some sort of Chuck E. Cheese coins that I've never heard of? I'm like, all these kids are saying things like, it's lit. Yo, hand me some of that chance over there, bruh. Ree. On the small, dusty coffee table in front of the couch, there's a pile of change in little piles. Normally, I'd have taken issue with this, but to be honest, I was desperate to get out of there at the... Fuck, dude, Jesus. Normally, I'd have taken no... Normally, I'd have taken issue with this, but to be honest, I was desperate to get out of there at that point. I'd have taken any form of currency. As I stooped down to start sliding the little piles of coins into my cupped palm, I started to hear the kid's labored breathing again, but I dared not look towards him. I could see its legs in my peripheral vision, and even then, I could see how unnaturally long they were. This person was not a child.
Sorry about the coins, mister. I saved them up. I saved them all up to afford this treat for myself. It's all I have.
I had told the person not to worry in the sunniest disposition I could muster. The last thing I wanted to do at this point was upset them. I pocketed the coins, barely having counted them. I'd come up with a difference myself if I needed to. Like I said, I just wanted to get out of there. But as I turned to leave, hastily thanking... Did you ever thanking somebody? Slow clap. Yeah, let's get a slow clap going, guys. What's the current count on? I don't know, guys. That'd be kind of sweet if I could press a button and it showed you guys the mistake counter, like, live. Melody, thanks. The kid's voice, yeah. I'm like trying to picture what this person sounds like. It's just, that's what I came up with. This kid is a demon. Wait, fuck. Where was I? But as I turned to leave, hastily thanking the person for their custom... Wait, what? Thanking the person for their custom... Thanking the person for their custom. I caught a glimpse of the person's face in the low light of the oil lamps. Wait, what is that? I hastily thanking the person for their custom? Is that a thing? You guys are going to have to help me. This person made a lot of random grammar errors, but I'm sure it's just like autocorrect or whatever they typed it on. Not really sure. Black-eyed children. Yeah, they have a house, I guess, now. But as I turn to leave, hastily thanking the person for their custom, Vanikins with the 5 says, what wins in awesomeness and or effectiveness? Alien butt cheek claps or the buttery goodness of the butter socks? We must know. Ooh, that's a tough one. Imagine clapping an alien cheek with a hand full or a sock full of butter. Now that, honestly, if we're going to raid Area 51, we need the appropriate equipment. And I think a sock, some butter socks, are just in line. And potentially, might be exactly what we find behind there. That's what they've been working on and hiding all these years. Oh, thanks for being a customer? Hastily thanking the person for their custom. Maybe custom is like a term. Oh, maybe that's similar to the word patronage. You know what I mean? Thanks for your custom. And that's why they're customers. That's really weird. Custom. A usage or practice common to many or to okay. Long established practice considered as unwritten law. Repeated practice, the whole body of use. Being made or performed. Yeah, I don't even know. Alright, we're gonna use a different word because that makes no sense to me. Just as he reached the door. Okay. But as I turned to leave, hastily thanking the person, I caught a glimpse of the person's face in the low light of the oil lamps. They were burned, horribly burned up and down their arms and chest. The scarred flesh extended all the way up their face and head, only the person's features were obscured by a small rubber mask. The mask didn't even cover up their entire face, only a small central portion that concealed their eyes, nose, and mouth. The only thing I could really make out was that the mask had a long wooden nose, kind of like the puppet Pinocchio, whose nose would grow whenever he told lies. The small carved eyes were blank. I averted my gaze from the mask and was unable to return it. It was one of the most hideously sad and scary things I'd ever laid eyes on. Just as I had reached the front door, I heard that same childlike voice emanating behind me.
Want to hear me play a song, mister?
Before I even had the chance to answer, to tell them I was too busy with deliveries to hang out, they had grabbed the old violin next to them and began to whine out of tune. Although the strings were almost totally out of tune, I started to make out the tune they were trying for. You know the one. If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you'd better go in disguise. For every bear that's ever there... What the fuck? What song is this? I have no fucking idea what song this is. Like, what song is this? You're sure to be... You know the one. What individual ever knows this song? Do you guys know this song? Oh, Peter Griffin, welcome.
Peter.
Oh, Peter. Yeah, should have done the kid's voice of the lisp.
Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Alright, picnic. I was in the back of the driver's. Alright. I'm gonna look up this song real quick because I'm actually kind of curious. Henry Hall, the Teddy Bear's Picnic. Okay. Henry Hall. You guys want to hear this song?
If you go out in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go out in the woods today, you'd better go in disguise.
Oh, God.
For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain, because today's the day the teddy bears have their picnic. If you go out in the woods today, you'd better not go alone.
This is
Lovely
slightly
out in the
creepy.
woods today, but safer to stay at home. For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain, because today's the day the teddy bears have their picnic. Picnic time for teddy bears.
All right, enough of that nonsense. What the fuck? I've literally never heard that song before, but that's, at least I know it, and I can try my best to sing it to you guys. You know the one. If you go down in the woods today, you're fuck, I have no idea. Okay, if you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. Okay. If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you'd better go in disguise. For every bear that ever there was will gather there. What? Fuck, the lyrics aren't even like, oh my god. This is like I feel like I'm in like an actual nightmare right now. I'm gonna have to look these lyrics up again. Fuck, because I think they just like wrote it out of order and it's very confusing. Okay. If you go down in the woods today, you're for sure a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you better go in disguise. For every bear that ever there was will get. What? For every bear that ever there was will gather. Oh, for every bear that ever there was. Oh, I see. I'm like an actual idiot. Lila, I'm gonna sing all night. I'm gonna sing you to sleep, sweetheart. For every bear that what the fuck? For every bear that ever there was, what the fuck? For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain. Do I have to actually hear this song again? This is actually bad. I'm actually mad at whoever wrote this, making me sing right now and figure out this freaking song. For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain. What? For that? Who wrote this shit? Because today's the day the teddy bears have their picnic. What the fuck? This is the worst. This is the worst song they've ever made. We're listening again, and I'm figuring this out. And you guys are going to love it. You guys are going to love every second of it.
If you go out in the woods today, you're sure of a big
Surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you better go in
disguise. For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain, because today's...
Oh, I see. If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you better go in disguise. For every bear there ever was will gather there for certain, because today's the day the teddy bears have their picnic. Boom. There it is. We figured it out. And it sucks. I hate this song. If I was 4 years old, I wouldn't even listen. I would hold my fingers up to my ears and I would say, I just pooped my pants, Mom. Clean that up. All right, let's figure this out. This is painful. Okay, if you go down in the woods today, you're sure a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you better go in disguise. For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain, because... Oh, I see. Okay. Holy shite, that sucks so bad. If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you better go in disguise. For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain, because today's the day the teddy bears have their picnic. I was in the back of the driver's seat of my car before you could say, "Nope, I'm out," scrambling to start the engine so I could make a quick getaway. I don't think they had any intention of hurting me. I certainly wasn't as in much danger as when those idiot Crip and Blood wannabes decided to shoot it out like right in front of my car. But something about that place still creeps back into my mind while I lay there in darkness trying to sleep. Something that means I'll never, ever make another delivery there. I'll quit before I go back. Holy Jesus Christ. That was so bad, dude. I'm sorry I had to put you guys through that. Venikins with the 2 says, merch must. Butter on an alien butt cheek. Nuff said, yeah. Clapping them cheeks with the with the butter socks. Lila, thank you. 32 out of 10. That's exactly what I was going for. I almost ran out of breath as I was attempting to sort of read that. And I kind of botched it at the end, but I don't care. All I needed was the, what is it called? Like the melody. Private chat. All right. That kind of, is that like an old song? Because it sounds kind of terrifying. Like because the video I'm watching that plays the song is like bears just having a nice picnic, but like this mother's legitimately terrified that her kids are going to go out in the wilderness with bears. Now, granted, in real life, you know, you're probably not going to want to let your kids go out with bears, but these seem like nice bears. I think this mom is overreacting. And this song is forever banned from my ears. Take your breath. Alien pizza is not a bad idea. I know, that sounds pretty good. Trill, you kind of like my singing? Thanks. I feel like if I did ever sing, I would probably sound kind of like... What was that one guy? He just... I hate when I think of stuff and I just can't think of the name. It'll come to me eventually. Cake? Is it Cake? The band Cake? Or is it... It's similar to Cake. Maybe it's Cake. I feel like it was like an individual name, but they're like... This isn't... This isn't, I don't want to listen to music. I want to listen to cake. You're surely gonna fry. That song is cursed. Cursed song. Curse this song. Top 10 cursed songs. We got one more story here, but then we're going to be reading the documentary of Who Killed Jill Dando. So that's going to be, that's going to be a long one. Shit. Sounds like, yeah, that is true, Dennis. That is very true. I took a gap year before I started university, and I would highly recommend one to all those who have doubts over higher education, or are second guessing. I took a gap year before I started university, and I would highly recommend one to all those who have doubts over higher education, or are second guessing their choice, of course. Getting a job and suffering the daily grind was something that really helped me grow as an individual. In other words, working for minimum wage sucks, and I had absolutely no intention of getting stuck in a dead-end job like that. The whole experience made me hungry for the chance to earn a better place in society. But what do you expect as a pizza delivery driver? I know for a fact it's one of the most soul-destroying jobs that a person can be, filled with all kinds of employment pitfalls such as paying for your own gas, getting your wages docked for late delivery, and generally being treated like a criminal by your taskmaster-turned-manager. I honestly can't complain, though. My dad helped me out with the finance on a cheap second-hand car. He even gave me a hand getting the rusty old thing back into working order. I may or may not have picked a delivery driver to put him in that position in the first place, but that's another story. So, the owner who'd given me the job in the first place was a top fellow. A Kurdish fellow who escaped Saddam's Iraq in the early 90s. He'd come here with no more than 100 quid to his name. But by the time I came to work for him, he was definitely worth more than $1 million. Alright, most of his money would have been tied up in various takeaway businesses, but the spanking new white BMW he drove around said it all. The guy stayed humble, though. He always greeted you warmly, he remembered your name, asked after your family. Like I said, he was a top bloke. But the English bloke he'd hired as a manager for the pizza shop wasn't so nice. In fact, I go so far as to say he was a complete wanker. Good at his job, don't get me wrong, the place ran like clockwork, but the man had next to no social skills and really rubbed the staff the wrong way sometimes. Like this one time when he found out that one of the delivery... Anyone else actually able to fix a car? I don't know. Anybody here in the chat a car handy fellow? What the fuck? Where was it? Oh. Good at his job, don't get me wrong. The place ran like clockwork. But the man had next to no social skills and really rubbed the staff up the wrong way sometimes. Like this one time when he found out that one of the drivers had been losing pizzas. He did a little investigating and found out he was losing these pizzas to the exact same address over and over again. He'd come up with a different story every time. He dropped the box, some teenagers stole the pizza, whatever it was. But it turned out he'd just been dropping them off at a mate's house. Proper scummy behavior. Anyway, he gets the sack, but it is what it was. Anyway, he gets the sack, but it was us, the drivers that remained, that really bore the brunt of it. He instituted a policy whereby anyone who failed to deliver or lost their orders would have the sale amount docked from their wages. Not the cost to the business, but the sale amount, so considerably more than the sum of any pizza part. Fuck. You can treat a scratch? That's good. How do you treat a scratch? Do you lick it? Not the cost to the business, but the sale amount, so considerably more than the sum of any pizza's parts. We were mad, but I don't know, it was understandable. The pizza thief had really let the side down. Let the side down? Sky tacos. Sacrifice the tacos to the sky. So we can get more people in here. Sacrifices. The pizza thief had really let the side down, and it was hard not to sympathize with the owner who just wanted staff we could trust. So this is how I ended up almost breaking into someone's house one night, trying... So this is how I ended up almost breaking into someone's house one night, trying to deliver their pizza. I drove out to the delivery address in my beat-up old Vauxhall, listening to the newly fitted engine purring like a dream. It was one of my last deliveries of the night, with cutoff time being 11 p.m., so I had that kind of second-wind excitement that comes with knowing you're off of work soon. Still singing along with the car radio, I pull up outside this old Victorian three-story, grab the thermal bag from off of the passenger seat, then stroll up to the front door. This is about the time of night that tips get pretty big too. People can be very happy to receive hot food at this hour, especially when they've been partaking in a certain variety of tobacco, if you catch my drift. Anyway, I'm whistling away to myself, banging on the front door of this big old house. Banging, knocking, banging again. About a minute goes by and it dawns on me that no one is answering. It must be some sort of mistake, I think to myself, and head back to the car to check the delivery notes to make sure I've got the right address. This is where the problem arises. I really can't tell if the person who's written the address has put down a 1 or a 7. This is one of the few things that Europeans really get right. They always whack a little line through the 7s to make sure they're recognizable. Who'd ever written this hadn't given me the same courtesy. What? Who'd ever written this hadn't given me the same courtesy. I decided it had to be a 1. The thing about the UK is we don't really get those crazy long house numbers like people in the States do. Like the Simpsons live on 742 Evergreen Terrace. I have that memorized, fight me. Whereas in the UK, I'm not even sure we even have 742 roads in total. I jest, but you get the point. So with me being 90% sure that this is the right house, but being 100% worried that I'm about to have 20 quid docked for my already meager wage packet. Wacky tobacco. Maybe they smoked a little too much tobacco, and now they've gone to be with Christ. They overdosed. It's possible. Happened to Bruce Lee. So, with me being 90% sure... Okay. So with me being 90% sure that this is the right house, but being 100% worried that I'm about to have 20 quid docked from my already meager wage packet, I set about trying to get this pizza delivered. I legged it back to the front door, hammered on it once more, just in case, then decided to take things a step further. I start shouting hello through the rectangular brass letterbox, but the only thing I hear in response is all this meowing from cats. Lots of cats. I also get this absolutely horrendous whiff of something truly disgusting, but lots of cats means lots of full litter boxes. Gross, but true. So the living room window is just feet away from the front door, and there's this little crack in the curtain I figured I can peek through to see if anyone is actually home. You'd be surprised the amount of people that call for pizza when they're not even home, thinking they'll be fast enough to get home before it arrives. Newsflash, you aren't, and you suck. But when I peer through the crack in the window, I see something that I still see when I close my eyes sometimes. The room was dimly lit, only the flickering gray light of TV static illuminating the interior, so it took me a few seconds to realize what I was actually looking at. All I could see was this one couch teeming with felines. I mean, like every square inch was covered in cats, with a veritable legion of the little furballs surrounding the couch, trying to leap up and join their feasting friends. That's right, feasting. On the couch lay the dead body of their former owner, an elderly woman who had died just a day or so before. Her cats had barely waited until she was cold before they scrambled over her body, plucking out her eyes and chewing her lips off. They tore away at the soft parts. Anywhere not covered up with clothing was a mess of clotting blood and torn flesh. Her own cats were eating her. I called the police when I get back to the shop, actually giving the idiot manager the finger when he tried to interrupt me giving a full account to the dispatcher on the other end of the phone. They thanked me, informing them, and I actually read about the whole thing on a local news site the next morning. My manager did actually try and dock my wages for the non-delivery when he told me I just quit then and there. Big twist. The Kurdish owner calls me up the day after I quit to ask if I was okay and, more importantly, to offer me my job back. He'd had it with the manager himself over him trying to unfairly dock me. He supported the policy to an extent, but not in a case such as this. I took the job back, but I did have a favor to ask. I'd be looking for a better job, but I needed a good reference. I was 18 and hadn't ever been employed before. Getting references was a nightmare. He said he'd give me a glowing one. Get this. I ended up getting an interview for a law firm to work as a legal apprentice. Low pay, but not no pay. This was pretty much exactly what I needed to secure myself a place on a law course at Newcastle University. During the interview, the quietly attractive 30-something clerk seems really impressed and did actually end up offering me the job. But it was what she said about my reference that made my heart swell. I can't remember it word for word, but it was something like this. We're very happy to have such a promising young personality here at Stanley and Doherty. Once we heard you were fluent in Kurdish, that pretty much sealed it. The way you saved your pizza place thousands of pounds a year with that new filing system, that colored us impressed. Yeah, the owner of the shop is Kurdish, so, you pick it up here and there. The guy had talked me up to be some kind of prodigy. I got my uni place, by the way. I graduate next year, and I'm still pretty sure I have Mohsen, the shop owner, to thank for it. And what I thought was a 1 did turn out to be a 7. Mind your handwriting, people. Seriously. You never know what we might stumble across. Sometimes when I'm sleeping, I'll wake up and Pradeep is just eating me. Like, Jesus, Pradeep, you couldn't have waited till I died? Thanks, bro. Jamie, what's up? Kurdish? I feel like the pronunciation of a D and T sometimes get overlapped. If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go into that old lady's cat-infested house, you're sure of a big surprise. Thousands of cats will be feasting upon her flesh and her eyes. Finish the rest of those lyrics. Axeman, you son of a beehole, what's up, bro? It must have been, hundreds of feral cats in her house. Maybe, actually. Joel, do I taste like chicken? I don't know. You'll have to come sample me. Old Muffin, I'm making you paranoid. Lila, thank you. Yeah, Lila's really big into burps. She's kind of like a burp connoisseur. Best part of the stream so far. It only made you gag a little bit. Scrambled eggs, yeah. Honestly, I love eggs. I think eggs are some of the best food ever. Also, like sometimes whenever I'm doing like low carb, which I'm trying to do again right now, it's hard sometimes, but there are so many substitutes for carbohydrates with the usage of vegetables. There's cauliflower rice, broccoli rice, sweet flour or sweet potato rice. There's I last night I found like cauliflower and broccoli tater tots. So it's like cauliflower and broccoli like around a bunch of cheese, which is really cool. They tasted just like tater tots and were amazing. Axeman, you're just going to call me daddy. That's okay. I will gladly raise my boy. But yeah, I'll make eggs. I'll take eggs, cauliflower rice, avocado, and cheese and just smush that into a big mixture. And it put some seasoning in it. And it's so good. It's so good. So good. Yeah, eggs, avocado, they're all freaking good for you. Good for your skin. Have I ever been stalked? I don't know. Maybe you could try it. He loves me now, but he'll love me as the main course. That's why he always wants to be near me, so he can make sure he's right there when I die. Oh, mashed cauliflower. You put cream cheese in it. That sounds pretty yummy. Yeah, definitely try cauliflower pizza crust. And you can make your own various... There's a subreddit called R Keto, and they have a ton of cool, like, low-carb ideas for... Oh, yeah, we're almost at 700 people. Keep hitting that like button, friendos. Smash the shit out of it. But yeah, there's a lot of cool recipes on there for, low carb stuff. Like, even if you've ever had fat bombs, which are kind of like different sweets that are low carb, like those are so good. Jamie's my official stalker. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to fight over stalker rights. I wonder if we can get to 1,000. That would be pretty dope by the end of this Jill Dando's situation. Uh-oh, Jordan. Cheyenne Dory Bob is back in the house with $5, and she says, "Law, I'm surprised at how many cat owners don't know that cats will eat you." Yeah, that's a reality that hits you pretty hard when you're trying to haunt your house and after you're gone and see little Sprinkles, taking a bite of your eyeballs and butthole, and you're like, what the fuck, Sprinkles? I'm not even... Rigor mortis hasn't even set in yet. Words make money. Interesting. Should get into voice acting. Yeah, a friend of mine on, Discord does some voice acting for over at Funimation in Flower Mound, Texas. And that is where Funimation is located. And I guess I'm going to have to ask them more about the sort of auditioning process, but their voice is really, really good. Like, really, really, like that person needs to be in an anime kind of thing. But I would love to be in anime or something, do voice acting somewhere, but it's just kind of finding that motivation to take that step or really knowing what my game plan's going to be. I guess life doesn't always have to have a game plan, but certainly helps a little bit. Jordan M, hello. Titty Sprinkles. Get into a phone sex company. Yeah, we could start the biggest one. Call now, and tonight you can talk to Let's Read. I'm just like, hey, what's up, man? Oh, hi, Let's Read. How's your night going? It's all right. Just streaming, talking to people, chilling out. Oh, that's cool. I'm just calling because, I just want to, cover you in pizza and cheese. Oh, nice, dude. We're actually reading pizza stories right now, so, So, anyways, have a good night. See you, man. This will cost $500. Later. Do you get paid a lot to voice an anime character? I don't think so. It sounds as if, though, like, if you can get consistent, Axeman's going to give me a voice acting role in his up-and-coming hentai video he's working on. Fuck yeah, dude. I call being the seventh tentacle. But from the sounds of it, like, voice acting is kind of one of those things where you just basically have to grind at it and really just appreciate the craft for what it is. Like, enjoying, like, the art form of what you're doing. Like, you might not always end up being, like, I don't know, Scarlett Johansson, make a ton of money off of Avengers or something like that. But I definitely hear, like, full-time actors can make a decent living. It definitely sounds like it's a grind as far as networking goes and trying to maintain relationships with certain directors and that kind of stuff. Fortunately, I've got the best massage hands ever. I'll be able to maintain those relationships real good. South Park is the best. Yeah, I would love to be on South Park. Or even like a popular animu would be sweet as freak. The seventh tentacle, aka the smooth, suave tentacle. What's up, baby girl? I'm the seventh tentacle. And I'll be grabbing your arm today, sliding around and shit. While all the other 6 tentacles do their business, I shall be looking in the fridge, seeing what you got. Hopefully you got, what do octopuses eat? Or like squid? Do squid eat things? Or do they just kind of like get thrown into sushi? If Scarlett Johansson asked me on a date, would I accept? Only if she promises not to cheat on me with the Hulk. Because that would break my heart. And I might have to beat him up. Alright guys, you ready to break into this documentary? This is going to take a while to get through, so I might be... Hopefully I don't lose steam here. The 7th tentacle wear sunglasses. That'd be great. That would be amazing. Squid eat ships. Yeah, this is true, because the Celeste, that was one of the many theories, was it was a colossal squid that took down the Mary Celeste. Squids drink PBR and talk about how metal has gone downhill since the late 90s. That's true. That would actually be amazing. You should illustrate that about a squid from a hentai and all their amazing personalities. Let's do this, Leroy. Drink. All right, narrator voice. Here we go. Oh God, dude, fuck. More like location pronunciations. I'm gonna try to do this right this time. Oh my God, there's so many too. Fuck. Like, there's Ashcombe. I don't even fucking know. Ashcombe. And then I see South Glamorgan Institute, Cardiff, Wales. Like, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right or not. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 2 says, Squidly Scoo, I booped you in the poo? Roo? Alright. This is the hardest part, is just figuring out how to pronounce these stupid places. Not that they're stupid, you know what I mean. On the 9th of fuck. On the 9th of November, 1961, in the sleepy seaside town of Weston-super-Mare, a woman named Winifred... Dude, I don't know if Weston-super-Mare is pronounced that way. I don't know if Winifred went, like... I don't even know if her name... Is Winifred a name? Is that a name? People call each other that? Oh, my God. Is Weston-super-Mare like a location? I'm sorry, dude. I just don't want to come off like an actual idiot, so I have to look up all these places, but you type it into Google, and Google's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of those places, and you type in the word pronunciation, and it doesn't work, because no one's ever pronounced the actual places. Just go with it. I go with it, but then I get, like, flamed in the comments, like, are you kidding me? You didn't pronounce Weston-super-Mare correctly. It's pronounced Weston-super-Mare. On the 9th of November 1961, in the sleepy seaside town of Weston-super-Mare, a woman named Winifred went into labor. Alright, that's one also that I have to check in. Your name, mom's name is Winifred. Pronounced like Winfried. Oh, Christ. Alright. Like the witch from Harry Hocus Pocus. Broski with the 5 says, you have a pretty voice. Thanks, Broski. When Joel hits 1 million subs, he should get a tattoo. That's what someone asked me, like, hey, what kind of tattoo would you get if you could? And honestly, like, I never even feel like I'm like wishy-washy about even like buying graphic tees, let alone having something on my body forever. But I think the one thing I could potentially see being on my body is the Let's Read avatar. I pronounce machete machata. Machata? Machete. Remember the movie Machete? Alright, we're going to see if this literally worthless resource... Like this pronounced names... Look how many subs it has. Oh, it actually worked.
Winifred?
Like, is it actually Winifred, or is it... Not Winfried. Winifred, pronounced like Winifred. Okay. So I'm getting trolled, which is probably the worst trolling because it leads me down a path of destruction. On the 9th of November 1961, in the sleepy seaside town of Weston-super-Mare, a woman named Winifred went into labor. Her husband, Jack, rushed to... Alright, I'm just going to have to do this entire thing sentence by sentence because I have no idea how to pronounce these places. Ashcombe House. Ashcrumbs. In the future, I cannot wait until... I know that people think, having computers read your mind is a terrible thing, and it probably is, but I literally can't wait till computers can just read your mind and then look up information like instantaneously, like the Matrix. Like, how do you say Ashcombe? And you just like mildly think it, and it just brings it up in like an interface directly in front of your eyeballs, and then you crash your car because you're distracted. All right. Ash crumbs. Ass crumbs. All right.
Ash cream.
Oh Jesus! Why even make this website if it's just going to be a robot? Like these are the top results. Maybe DuckDuckGo. Do you ever go on DuckDuckGo? Apparently it's way better than Google. Fart. Haley Walsh, we're done with the stories. We're now doing this documentary, but I have no idea how to pronounce anything. So it's really slowing down the process. Fuck, dude. Oh, weird. Does anybody know how to say this word? I'm just going to go with it. Ashcombe. Have I seen Black Mirror? Cheyenne Dorybob with the 2. Thank you. I have seen Black Mirror. I thought it was a good show. The first season, first episode or whatever was weird with the pig fucking and stuff like that. But, I thought it was still entertaining or whatever. Funny. But all the other episodes are so wildly different that it just didn't really feel like it fit within that theme. I guess they did. I guess it was like a hacker or something like that. Uncle Joel is a dingleberry. This is true. Ashcombe. I'm gonna say Ashcombe. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Her husband Jack rushed to Ashcombe House Maternity Home and was at his wife's side as she gave birth to their one and only daughter. They would name her Jill Wendy Dando. Jill's early years were an uphill struggle. When she was just 3 years old, it was discovered that she had a blocked pulmonary artery, as well as a hole in her tiny heart. The pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from the right side of the heart to the lungs, where it will be loaded up with oxygen again before circulating the body. Unless the blockage was cleared, the infant Jill's lungs would be unable to form even the most basic of functions. Her young life was in grave danger, but thanks to the budding National Health Service, the infant Jill was taken care of. Doctors from all over the former British Empire took part in the delicate operation to set up and unblock her tiny, still-beating heart. The operation was a complete success, and Jill grew up to be a healthy, happy girl. After her comprehensive education, Jill went on to study journalism at the South Glamorgan... Alright, Glamorgan. It's probably like some weird-ass pronunciation. What's my address? Asking for a friend. Yeah, that's not... I just live out in the streets. I'm just out in the concrete jungle. You can find me. PronouncedNames.com.
Glamorgan.
Like, why even post a video with a
Glamorgan.
robot's voice? Why? Shiny hunting? Did you get any shiny Pokemon?
Glamorgan.
Glamorgan. Look, Glamorgan, not Glamagan. Like what? Like someone had... Dude, this video.
Glamorgan.
Someone had to... This person, pronunciation guide, I'm going to DM them. They somehow have 2.3 million views a month. I'm going to DM them and say the channel is a complete fraud. You get a thumbs down. You deserve to be taken off of YouTube. You're utterly worthless. Like, why even make this content at all?
Glamorgan.
Glamorgan. There it is. So simple, so easy. Dude, I'm just going to keep this Oxford Dictionary thing up because I think that might be my resource. I've been looking for a resource that does pronunciations well, and for some reason, Google does not prefer them in the algorithm of what they present for their search results. And I hate them. Alright, anyways, rant over. We're moving forward to the next word that's going to drive me insane. After her comprehensive education, Jill went on to study journalism at the South Glamorgan Institute of Higher Education in nearby Cardiff, Wales. Alright, one more word here. I gotta do it. If I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it right. Cardiff. Here it is.
Cardiff.
Cardiff. Nice.
Cardiff.
Easy. Dude, OxfordLearnersDictionaries.com. Clutch. And I guess I did say Cardiff, right? After her After her comprehensive education, Jill went on to study journalism at the South Glamorgan Institute of Higher Education in nearby Cardiff, Wales. It was there she would be filled with a passion for dramatics and media, taking part in local amateur dramatics and theater companies, and even volunteering for Sunshine Hospital Radio, a non-profit organization that wished to bring a little ray of sunshine into the lives of sick and injured patients. It appears that Jill never, ever forgot the debt she owed to her nation's medical professionals. Journalism was something of a family business for the Dandos. Jill's father and brother worked for the local weekly newspaper, the Weston Mercury, and this is where Jill found her first paid reporter's job. For 5 whole years, she worked as a print journalist for the Mercury, covering the community events and helping to promote local and regional business. But Jill always knew she was destined for the big time. So, in 1985, when the call came from the British Broadcasting Corporation that they were looking for a newsreader for BBC Radio Devon, BBC Radio Devon, right? Highest number of mistakes on the stream. I don't know, probably in the 100. But no, I'm sorry to get triggered by the word pronunciation things, just because it's like, it's weird when you see a something that most likely is pretty common throughout all of society, using Google and stuff, and Jolena, hello Daniela, what's up? Everybody in society at one point is like, how do you pronounce this? And they look it up, and then they have to see Emma saying, just completely botching the word. Imagine if like a bunch of people went around talking like robots based on how the video taught them how to say this in the 70s. That's the definitive possibility of how many mistakes I made. Definitely been up there. His meteoric rise. Okay. So in 1985, when the call came from the British Broadcasting Corporation that they were looking for a newsreader for BBC Radio Devon, Jill jumped at the chance, beat out her male competitors, and secured her place on the next highest rung on the media ladder. Her meteoric? Her meteoric rise was simply unstoppable. Dando was fresh-faced, enthusiastic, intelligent, and beautiful. She exuded the girl-next-door type of vibe that her listeners found endearing and informative. She was media dynamite, so naturally it didn't take long for her to transition? She was media dynamite, so naturally it didn't take long for her to transition from local radio to local television and then onto national television. The bright-eyed young blonde from Somerset packed her bags and made the journey from her small, humble seaside home to the big lights of London. She had finally made it. After brief stints on breakfast TV and nightly news programs, Jill managed to land a more casual, more personal role as the presenter of the holiday program. It was this job that gained Dando most of her fame and public affection. Each week, viewers would tune in and join Jill on whichever sun-soaked adventure she was on. Island hopping in the crisp blue... Aegean Sea? Dude, I feel amazing that I've discovered the Oxford Learner's Dictionaries because... No, say goodbye to all your mistakes. Oh, no, it doesn't exist. No! No. Does anyone know this word? I'm going to type it in the chat. Aegean?
Aegean.
Aegean. Wow. Right on, bro. Island hopping in the crisp blue Aegean Sea, hiking in the baking Spanish Sierras, or feasting on all the culinary delights that Italy had to offer, the British public lived almost vicariously through the woman they felt as if they knew personally. So much of Dando's politeness, her lust for life, her Britishness shone through in ways that had the British people falling head over heels for her. She was a devout Baptist, and her wholesomeness earned her guests presenting spots on BBC's Songs of Praise, a religious program that presents Christian hymns sung in churches of varying denominations from around the UK. But it was in 1995 that Dando landed the role that would, without a doubt, have the biggest effect on her life. 10 years prior, BBC directors were racking their brains for new ideas on new, fresh entertainment. A German TV show called... Oh, wow. Now this, I will not know how to say. And I don't even know if I'll even... Let me look it up. Maybe they'll have it on YouTube. Ochtenzeichen XY Ungelöst. Lils, thank you for the 2. Alright. It's like an hour and 30. I wonder if it will say it.
Guten Abend, liebe Zuschauerinnen, liebe Zuschauer. Ein furchtbarer Mord hat am vergangenen Donnerstag die Menschen in Offenbach geschockt. Dieser Mann, Mohammed Sultana, soll eine 44 Jahre alte Frau in ihrem Auto erschossen haben.
Huh. They didn't say the name of the show in the beginning, I guess, but... Ochtenzeichen... I don't know if you should say XY. Ungelöst. I sound like Dwight Schrute. Ochtenzeichen XY fuck it. We're just going for it at this point. A new German TV show called Ochtenzeichen XY Ungelöst was taking the continental airwaves by storm. On the show, law enforcement officials as well as media personalities would appeal to the general public for information on unsolved crimes. This actually helped to put a few dangerous German fugitives behind bars, and this was celebrated on the show with presenters thanking the public for their assistance. It was a national phenomenon, and soon plans were in the works for a British version of the show that would simply be called Crime Watch UK. So when a female presenter's position opened up on the show... sorry. Do people know you're a YouTuber? Yeah. People at my... Like all my friends know that I do this for a living. It's... You know, it's interesting for a brief period of time where I tell them the sort of novelty of the fact that I do this job, and then that peters out, and then we just become normal friendos. So when a female presenter's position opened up on the show, Dando once again found herself on primetime television. The wholesome girl next door, who was already adored by the public, was now a symbol of hope and justice to the criminally victimized. Before she was adored, but now she was the nation's darling, perhaps the biggest female televisual personality in British Perhaps the biggest female televisual persona in British history. She had seemingly fulfilled her lifelong destiny, but tragedy was right around the corner. On the morning, maybe I should say that more scary. Oh yeah, Lila, that was not a full-on burpee. If I was sipping on Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper cherries, oh man, your ears would rock. Would literally rock. Pesto, you play cello, but I've only been playing for it for a year. I really like cello. I like the bassiness to it. It's always very much relaxed me. She had seemingly fulfilled her Fuck, dude. Fuck, dude. She had seemingly fulfilled her lifelong destiny, but tragedy was right around the corner. On the morning of April 26, 1999, the then 37-year-old Jill Dando left her partner's home. Oh, I'm going to say this wrong, dude. I'm serious. I said it wrong. It's Cheswick or Cheswick. Dude, they don't even have it. Come on. Where do I go? Where do I go when the Oxford Dictionary lets me down? Alright, come on. Here we go.
Chiswick.
Chiswick. Chiswick, is it? All right.
Sorry.
Chiswick.
On the morning of April 26th, 1999, the then 37-year-old Jill Dando left her partner's home in Chiswick, West London, and traveled home by far to her house in Fulham. Fudge! Fudge Newtons, dude! Ted Bundy's victims? I don't think so, because I believe this was in the UK, and Ted was many years before her. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. Who fucking knows? I guess I'll sing a song about nothing.
Fulham.
Fulham. Thank you, Fulham. Chiswick and Fulham. On the morning of April 26, 1999, the then 37-year-old Jill Dando left her partner's home in Chiswick, West London, and traveled home by far to her house in Fulham, just over 3 miles away. It is important to note that Dando did not visit this Fulham home often. She was in the process of selling the home to move in with her partner, Alan Farthing, and he was generally only present at the address to pick up odd personal items and to meet the estate agents. As Jill reached the front door of the house at around 11:32 a.m., a single shot rang out around the neighborhood. Jill collapsed to the floor as blood pooled beneath her life draining away. Less than 15 minutes later, a neighbor by the name of Helen Doble was walking along the street when she saw the fallen Dando lying in a substantial puddle of her own blood. In records of the 999 call that Doble made to the police, her voice can be heard breaking up. Quivering, the realization hits her that the nation's darling had been murdered on her doorstep of her own home. Doble describes the huge amount of blood at the scene, responding to the dispatcher's questions about vital signs with, "I don't think she's breathing anymore. Oh God, her lips are blue. I think she's dead." Police and ambulance crews arrived on scene just before noon, but it was too late. Dando was declared dead on arrival at 1:03 p.m. when her body arrived at Charing. All right, here's another place, Charing.
Charing.
Yeah, I mean, I used to drink a lot of... Water is for sure definitely better for you, because diet soda legitimately rots your brain and kills your gut bacteria.
Charing Cross.
Charing. Oops, I shouldn't close out of that. Rot my brain and kill my gut. Rot my brain and kill my gut. It's Dr. Pepper. Rot my brain and kill me gut. It's Dr. Pepper. Lila, what is this documentary about? Well, it's about Jill Dando, and she just got shot. So. Police and ambulance crews arrived on scene just before noon, but it was too late. Dando was declared dead on arrival at 1:03 p.m. when her body arrived at Charing Cross Hospital. The nation went into mourning. There was intense media coverage of the murder. The people were outraged, furious that such a heartless act could have been perpetrated against someone who had only ever worked for the public's good. It was barely 24 hours before details of the murder began to emerge, and just weeks later, Jill's murder was reconstructed on her own show, Crime Watch, in the hope that the public could help bring her killer to justice. In a special edition of the TV show, the results of the Dude, you know what I just thought? Like, what if the network hired someone to kill Jill because they thought that it would actually, and then recreate the scene and stuff on their show trying to find her, because they thought that that would bring in more viewers and, you know, money in the long run or whatever. That would be insane. What do you guys think about that? Lils with the 2, laughing. I like laughter. Laughter is good. Alright, I need to skip these part of the song because it's a little loud for me ears. It's a wee bit loud. Daniela, you like the conspiracy theories? That's good. We need to think abstractly here if we want to solve this crime. Dude, easy solve, right, Jamie? That was like almost too easy to solve. Give me another crime. Let's go. Let's figure this out. All right. It was barely 24 hours before details of the murder began to emerge, and just weeks later, Jill's murder was reconstructed on her own show, Crime Watch, in the hope that the public could... Oh, fuck. In the hope that the public could... Oh, fuck. In the hope that the public could help bring her killer to justice. In a special edition of the TV show, the results of the Metropolitan Police forensic study was shared with viewers. Dando had been shot by a single bullet from a 9mm pistol, pressed right up against her temple the moment the weapon was fired. Richard Hughes, another one of her next-door neighbors, heard Dando exclaim something, a surprised cry like someone greeting a friend, but did not hear the shot fired. He claimed he looked out of his front window and saw a tall Caucasian man. Shit, okay. He claimed he looked out of his front window and saw a tall Caucasian man, aged around 40, rapidly walking down from Dando's house. Investigative journalist Bob Wolfenden reported the following. As Dando was about to put her keys in the lock to open the front door of her home in Fulham, she was grabbed from behind. With his right arm, the assailant helped her. Oops. You think I should do more conspiracy videos? I would, but not that long ago, in relation to the flat earth bullshit, YouTube started censoring and not suggesting conspiracy videos to people as much. It was like part of their way to fight misinformation and fake news, blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, you're gonna use the flat earth as your reason not to promote conspiracy theories. And granted, I get it. Like, I get it where they're coming from, but at the same time, it's just like that's your scapegoat is conspiracy theories to just completely shut off people's ability to be exposed to, like, thinking a little bit differently. It sucks. It sucks, dude. So anyways, I just kind of have to avoid that kind of content because it's just not going to get me anywhere. With his right arm, okay. With his right arm, the assailant held her and forced her to the ground, so that her face was almost touching the tiled step of the porch. Then, with his left hand, he fired a single shot at her temple, killing her instantly. The bullet entered her head just above her ear, parallel to the ground, and came out the right side of her head. The details of the case were harrowing, and the British public angrily demanded justice. But the subsequent investigation came up against a few problems. Firstly, Dando was a well-known television personality who was known to millions upon millions of people. Naturally, there was a great deal of speculation regarding the motives for her murder, which led to literally thousands of people being interviewed by police, with over 1,000 lengthy written statements taken from the interviewees. Initially, theories surfaced that a jealous lover or ex-partner had murdered Dando, but interviews with friends and family, as well as phone records investigated by police, quickly ruled this out. Some investigators even suggested that this could have been a case of mistaken identity, But the fact that the murder occurred on the doorstep of her home eliminated this as a possibility. It was even thought that a business rival or an ex-colleague with a grudge could be to blame. This line of inquiry was not so easily dismissed by investigators, given Dando's exceptionally successful career. When her former agent, John Roseman, was questioned by the police, he was horrified to learn that he was being interviewed under caution. Effectively, he'd found himself as a suspect of his former client's murder. However, much to his relief, nothing suspicious was found, and he was never again part of the investigation. The most likely theory that the Metropolitan Police entertained was that the murder was committed by an obsessive or mentally deranged fan of Dando's. Jill was known to politely decline any invitations of fuckity-fuck. The Earth is both flat and round. It goes through cycles, like, every couple of years, kind of like the leap year. The Earth just flattens out a little bit. It's like a pancake or like a ball of... It's like a pizza. The Earth is like a big old pizza, like the stories read earlier. It starts off as like a ball of dough, and then you start spinning it, and it extends, and and then it comes back together when the God, the baker, is bobbity boobity boobity bobbity, flipping it around in the air, smushing it. He's just trying to get the crust oh so perfect. Jill was known to politely decline any invitations of marriage from male admirers. Fuck, that sounded weird. I'm actually really excited to start doing like true crime stuff on the channel because I feel like the Earth is, drumroll, Earth. I'm actually really excited to do true crime just because I feel like you guys would really enjoy it. So I'm pretty stoked because I have a lot of faith in Robin as an editor, and he does some amazing stuff. And with people researching these true crimes kind of things, like, I think it's gonna be pretty sick, dudes. It's gonna be sick. Oh, crap. Jill was known to politely decline any invitations of marriage from male admirers. It could be the case that one had taken her well-mannered rejection just a little too hard. This idea was only cemented when Jill's brother and fellow journalist Nigel had informed police investigators that she had become increasingly concerned by some guy who was pestering her. Fuck. This idea was only cemented when Jill's brother and fellow journalist Nigel had informed police investigators that she had become increasingly concerned by some guy who was pestering her in the final few days before her murder. When Nigel's claim was investigated by detectives, they made a horrifying discovery. A short walk away from Jill Dando's Fulham home, less than half a mile away from the place she was murdered, lived a man named Barry George. Barry George was a highly disturbed individual, often giving false names to those he met. In 1980, he was convicted and fined for impersonating a policeman, having obtained false identification after a failed attempt to join the force for real. At his court appearance, George eschewed... Wait, is this... I haven't seen that word. Perhaps you can help solve a mystery. Do I play video games with my subs? Sometimes I do. Well, no, that's not true. We play. Well, they play Cards Against Humanity and stuff, and more casual gamers rise up. But like, there's, I play a lot of Overwatch and stuff. I've been kind of been away from it a little bit, but I'm definitely down to game with ball with the bros. I'm down to ball with the bros, if you know what I mean. Wait, Mama Usagi, what interview are you talking about? Alright. Where in the fart was I? Barry George was a highly disturbed bro. He was balling with his bros. Okay, eschewed. That's That is the word I was looking for. Alright, hopefully. Past tense, excuse. Deliberately avoid using, abstain from.
Eschew.
What?
Eschew.
Eschew. You're kidding me.
Eschew.
Eschew. Am I gonna have to say it Britishly? Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 2 says, have you heard of the YouTube criminally listed? I have not. That sounds pretty cool. Yoni Na Yisrael. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad you're still doing stuff. I'm glad you're chilling like a villain. $100 villain. What is this word? What is this word?
Eschew.
Eschew. Eschewed.
Eschew.
Eschew? What? Bless you. Eschew. That is the weirdest word. At his court appearance, George eschewed that the usual suit and tie in favor of glam rock attire and falsely stated his name as Paul Gadd, the real name of... I really don't want to say the word pedophile during a video. It's just like... YouTube's just like, what'd you say? I didn't hear you. Quite hear you. Should we demonetize the video? Synonyms. Ah, okay. Child deviant. Convicted deviant. That sounds good to me. George eschewed the usual suit and tie in favor of glam rock attire, and falsely stated his name as Paul Gadd, the real name of convicted child deviant Gary Glitter. Around the same time, he was exposed by a local newspaper when he claimed to be the winner of the British Karate Championship, his tale unraveling when the real champion soon stepped forward to expose him as a charlatan. These were all fairly light-hearted offenses, but they preceded darker crimes that would expose Barry George as the vile psychopath he is. In 1981, after adopting the persona of a Special Forces operative, George was charged with 2 counts of indecent assault. He was found not guilty of one charge, but a conviction for the other assault resulted in a suspended prison sentence of 3 months. Just 2 years later, Barry George once again found himself before a judge, this time for the attempted... I don't know why. I just avoid saying pedophile, avoid saying rape. It's Peterphile. God. Attempted forcing himself upon... Call him a diddler. Yeah. That's what Danny DeVito would do. Alright, sorry. Danny DeVito. Okay. Just 2 years later, Barry George once again found himself before a judge, this time for attempting to force himself upon a woman in Acton, West... Fuck, dude, how do you say this place? Ellie Cabadas with the 3 says, listen to Crime Junkies on Spotify. True crime. Okay, nice. Yeah, I love true crime. I'm always down for that. Acton. You never know. It says Acton, and it's probably Acton of West London, but you never know. Shite. Definition. Hey, Jay Wilson. Yee yee. What's good?
Acton.
Alright, it was Acton. Just wanted to double check. 2 years later, Barry George once again found himself before a judge, this time for attempting to force himself upon a woman in Acton, West London. He was found guilty and served just half of a 33... He was found guilty and served just half of a 33 months prison sentence. But these were not isolated incidents. His 1989 marriage to a Japanese student by the name of Itsuko Toide. Alright. Itsuko Toide. Yeah, that sounds fine. Oh, you're with your boyfriend. Cool. Tell him I said, what up? Dude.
Dude? What's going on, dude?
Sorry. Alright. His 1989 marriage to a Japanese student by the name of Itsuko Toida ended less than a year after it began. Toida... Toide went on to describe her ex-husband as terrifying and violent, a man with a fractured personal identity who could fly into a rage at any perceived slight. She also confessed he has assaulted her on numerous occasions just months into their new marriage. It is Barry George's lengthy criminal history that led him to become the subject of such intense police investigation. He was soon put on... Started cringing. Good. We need more cringe in this place. I'm full of cringe tonight. I'm full of epic cringe. Alright, what am I doing? Who am I? Why am I? I'm just a voice reading about this girl. It is Barry George's lengthy criminal history. What made me stop again? Dude, I am so stupid. Firstly, the police. When it became apparent that George was trying to lie low, only leaving his... What made me stop? I don't even remember. Whatever, we'll start here. It is Barry George's lengthy criminal history that led him to become the subject of such intense police investigation. He was soon put under surveillance after details of his... Wait a second. Fuck, dude, I have no idea where I left off. Take a Cheeto break. I would love some Cheetos. Also, my stop button doesn't work. It is Barry George's lengthy criminal history that led him to become the subject of such intense police investigation. He was soon put under surveillance after details of his previous offenses emerged. When it became apparent that George was trying to lie low, only leaving his residence at night and displaying paranoid behavior, police swept in for the arrest. During his trial, the prosecution leveled 4 serious accusations against George. Firstly, police had noticed some glaring inconsistencies in George's statement and accused him of lying to cover his involvement. It was also alleged that George has attempted to create a false alibi. Police also brought out a witness that claimed to have seen Barry George hastily leaving the area. Finally, the prosecution brought up the fact that a single particle of firearm discharge residue had been found on an item of George's clothing a full year after the murder. This proved that George was knowledgeable of firearms and had access to firearms. On July 2, 2001, at the Old Bailey in London, a jury of his peers pronounced Barry George... Wait, what? Pesto, you're getting recommended 7-year-old videos lately. That's interesting. Trill, that's a nice thing of you to say. Thank you. My dearest. Thanks for that. That makes me feel good. On July 2nd, 2001, at the Old Bailey in London, a jury of his peers convicted Barry George guilty of the murder of Jill Dando by 10 votes to 1 before a judge sentenced him to life imprisonment. But the story doesn't end here. Wait, to life imprisonment. Okay. But the story doesn't end here. Concern regarding George's conviction was widespread, with many arguing that the case against him was purely circumstantial. Evidence from 3 people placed Barry George's arrival at their disability offices at around noon on the day of the murder, which would have made it impossible for him to have shot Jill Dando outside of her house at 11:30 and then gone home to change before his appointment at the disability office. What's more, 2 neighbors who almost certainly saw the murderer immediately after the shooting had taken place had failed to properly identify Barry George at subsequent identity parades. 2 appeals were unsuccessful, but after discredited forensics evidence was excluded from the prosecution's case, George's 3rd appeal succeeded in November of 2007. The original conviction was quashed, and the second trial lasting 8 weeks ended in George's acquittal on the 1st of August 2008. Barry George was officially cleared of Jill Dando's murder. But if such a violent, deranged fantasist... Wait, fantasist? I don't know if this is a word. It is.
Fantasist.
Fantasist. A person who imagines or dreams about something desired. Well, I imagine pizza. I'm a pizza fantasist. Oh, smash that mother freaking like button, baby, yeah. Give it a smoosh. Use your chin and or tongue, or nose, or eyebrows, or eyelashes to smash that like button into oblivion. If you put a hot dog in the toaster, will it be grilled? That's actually a great question. Maybe if you cut it in half and put both. Your voice creates babies and naps. Hey, 2 of the best things in the world right there. Sean Tomlinson. Joel, I'm going to have to break up with you. Cannot believe you made out with my brother. I don't remember. Oh, just kidding. Okay, I was going to say I don't remember that happening, but hey, I've had a lot of tacos tonight. You guys have been sacrificing them up. All right. But if such a violent, deranged fantasist didn't kill her, just what exactly... But if such a violent, deranged fantasist... That sounds so weird to me. Fantasist. Fanta, don't you wanta? But if such a violent, deranged fantasist didn't kill her, just exactly who did? The police had rolled out theories of a contract killing by the time that they had begun to investigate Barry George. Forensic examination of the shell casing and bullet recovered from the murder scene suggested that the killer's pistol had been a replica or a decommissioned gun, the result of a workshop conversion that had turned a harmless imitation into a real working firearm. It was initially argued that a professional hitman would never use such an unreliable weapon of such poor quality. This led to police focusing on the idea that the murder had been committed by a crazed opportunist who was working alone, which naturally pointed them towards Barry George. But in the years following Barry George's release, additional details on the murder weapon have emerged. For example, it only recently came to the public's attention that the single bullet fired by Dando's murderer had also been tampered with. Someone had separated the round from its casing, removed a considerable amount of the gunpowder propellant before resembling... I hate when I'm like on this sick-ass roll and I just lose it. Gone. Completely, irrevocably gone. AC wants me to sing. I can't sing, dude. I just can't. I try to. I did it earlier, but it sounds so bad. Like, I have to be proud of what I'm giving you guys. And I'm proud of my reading. I'm just not proud of my singing. I will call Joella. Thanks. Thanks. I can't tell you how many girls in my life have called me Joella. Or Joelle. Alright. Joel pees in a bottle under the desk. This could be true. It's been about 3 hours and I have not hit that bathroom yet. And I don't really feel it, so that's good. Maybe my kidneys are shutting down. Who knows? We'll see. If I pass out in the middle of this. Alright. Why do I should just highlight where I left off. Decommissioned gun. It was initially argued that the professional hitman would never have used such an unreliable weapon. This led the police to blah, blah, blah. Okay. Here it is. Found it. Someone had separated the round from its casing, removed a considerable amount of the gunpowder propellant before reassembling the bullet itself. This means that although the lack of propellant would make for a much less lethal round when it was fired, it would be much quieter than a regular bullet. This would enable the murderer to kill Dando on her own doorstep in broad daylight without any potential witnesses hearing the shot. And that is exactly what happened. As mentioned previously, when a neighbor of Dando's heard her surprised cry, but heard no shots fired. So how exactly, in light of such disturbing, revealing information, are police so sure that it wasn't a hitman? In fact, I'd go so far as to say that such information would indicate that it was exactly the work of a professional contract killer, one with an expert knowledge of ballistics and tradecraft that would commit such a brazen act without one single credible witness. But who exactly would have the resources and motive to hire or deploy their own assassin? In the mid-90s, the paramilitary rebel group Kosovo Liberation Army began to stage attacks against Serbian security services they claimed were occupying their homeland. This resulted in retaliatory attacks from Serbian armed forces who sought vengeance against the ragtag band of rebels. They targeted KLA sympathizers, but also used the attacks as an excuse to jail and murder political opponents to Serb dominance in the area. By the end of 1998, over 2,000 civilians and KLA fighters had been killed. Europe was aflame with outrage. All of NATO's attempts to find a diplomatic solution to the conflict failed miserably. Eventually, it was deemed that there were no other options beside direct military intervention. The aerial bombardment of Yugoslavia was about to begin. A coalition of 13 nations led by the United States and Great Britain began to bomb bridges, industrial plants, and Serbian military targets in what became known as Operation Merciful Angel, the aim being to break the back of the Serbian armed forces and reduce their ability to wage war in the region. On the evening of April 6, 1999, an allegiance of 12 British charities, including Oxfam and the Red Cross, launched a televised appeal for the victims of the Serbian aggression. Within an hour of the program's arising, thousands upon thousands of callers jammed telephones, donation hotlines, donating hundreds of thousands of pounds to the cause. The fact of that campaign was known. Shit. Hey, Venikins with the 5 says, shout out to my mate AC Castillo, Buttersocks, Area 51, clapping them butt cheeks tacos, and Pradeep with the 5. Thank you. Absolutely. Much love to you, Venikins. Thanks for the shout out. I'm trying to clap this documentary's cheeks hard here. I wonder how much more we got. All right, we're getting close. We close. The face of that campaign was none other than Jill Dando. In her typically warm, humble manner, Jill appealed to the British public to help stop the biggest humanitarian disaster in Europe since World War II. She tugged on the heartstrings of the nation, describing how just short of 1 million ethnic Albanians had been forced from their homes by heartless, hateful Serbs. The British public gave generously. Almost 3 weeks later, on the 24th of April, Allied warplanes were You're convinced Joel's on Adderall. You know, I've never taken Adderall. I would be nervous too, to be honest. I feel like that would kill my heart or something. Like, I feel like my heart would explode, because I do like coffee, but I only drink it in the mornings, or the beginning of the day, rather. Also, I think Adderall, similar to whatever they give people for ADD, those amphetamines tend to have a pretty strong effect on limiting the development of your brain size. So, like, that always kind of scared me. Miss Molly with the 5 Buckaroony says, my Streamlabs donation didn't show but went through, but here's another Oh, man, how did I miss that? Oh, wow. I wonder why. Yeah, Streamlabs is on the fritz, because I see your guys' donations, but it's kind of stopped making the sounds and stuff, so that's really strange. But thank you, Molly, and thank you for the 3 over on Streamlabs. I see that now. It says, hiya, Joel. Well, hiya, Miss Molly. Thank you. Yes, sorry about that. And AC Castillo with the 2 says, oh, good lordy, please tell Venikins she is loved. She is. Venikins is an OG stream follower. She's been around almost all streams. Yeah, I don't know how much I would be talking if I was on the Addy. On that Addy, duh. Yeah, I wonder if Streamlabs is screwed up or something. Something going on. All right. Hateful Serbs. The British public gave generously. Almost 3. Okay. Oh. I have to figure out how to pronounce this. This is the Serbian capital, Belgrade? Belgrade? Oh, come on, dog. Alright, definition of Belgrade, which hopefully sometimes when you do that, maybe I should just type it into here. There it is.
Belgrade.
Belgrade. Belgrade. Squirrel! Squirrel, squirrel! I'm glad no squirrels can get in my room. Stuart Halley said YouTube won't let you donate, which that sucks. I wonder why. And I wanted to hear you arg like a pirate. Arg! Ahoy there, matey! Arg! Addy's like Coke for those that don't need it. Yeah, that would make sense. Belgrade. Belgrade. I think Grad sounds more appropriate. Grad. Because, like, I feel like that's how someone from Serbia would say it, right? Am I right, guys? Just kind of guess. Almost 3 weeks later, on the 24th of April, Allied warplanes were targeting communications infrastructure in the Serbian capital, Belgrade. The headquarters of the premier Serbian TV network, RTS, was listed as a military target, and 16 of their staff were killed when a single NATO missile struck the building. Middle? Missile? Maybe they meant to type missile. The headquarters of the premier Serbian TV network RTS was listed as a military target, and 16 of their staff were killed when a single NATO missile struck the building. Many of the victims were trapped under rubble for days, only able to communicate using mobile phones. NATO command attempted to justify the bombing on 2 levels. Firstly, that it was essentially to destroy and degrade the command and control capabilities of the Serbian armed forces. Secondly, it was argued that the RTS headquarters was making a crucial contribution to the Serbian war effort by pumping out propaganda that fanned the flames of conflict against ethnic minority groups. But the Serbs took the attack personally. One of the RTS staff members killed in the airstrike was a female presenter who was well known and well liked by the general Serb populace. One could even argue that Allied airstrikes killed Serbia's equivalent to Jill Dando, and as you can imagine, that caused a fair amount of outrage. So it is credible that Jill Dando was murdered at the command of Serbian military or political... Oh, it's a question. So is it possible? Yeah, it's about 1 a.m. here. Usually I'm like editing, but fuck, I started way late. Stream was way late. And Cheyenne Dory Bob says, I have ADHD and ADD, and they gave me a med called Concerta. It gave me horrible migraines. After a year, I secretly stopped. I was 11 years old at the time. Yeah, I don't know. Like, to me, ADHD is a weird disease, because it's like, how do you objectively determine blood levels of some particular chemical to determine it? Like, I mean, has anyone ever stepped back and thought maybe the school system just sucks ass and we're just a bunch of little kids who want to run around and scream and, you know, whack each other with sticks, and maybe it's best, rather than freaking, sedating us with pharmaceuticals, maybe we could just let us be human for once? I don't know. Dude, I'm so sick of, like, people trying to fix kids like that. It's just crazy. Original Asherella with the 2 says, spent all my money for the week on a new iPad 2. Oh, that's cool. I never had an iPad. I was always kind of curious. I beat my record of mistakes. That's awesome. So is it credible that Jill Dando was murdered at the command of Serbian military or political leaders? It can be argued that the origin of such theories stem from a viewer of the televised charity appeal, who wrote into the BBC to complain that the program had been exceptionally biased against the Serbs. After all, there was absolutely no mention that the violence was instigated by the Kosovan Liberation Army, and no, the Serbs themselves. Fuck, dude, there was no... Why was there... After all, there was absolutely no mention that the violence was instigated. After all, there was absolutely no mention that the violence was instigated by the Kosovan Liberation Army, and not the Serbs themselves, who had the right to defend themselves. The days after Miss Dando was killed, it emerged that Tony Hall, then the BBC's head of news, now the corporation's director general, had been phoned by a man with an East European accent saying, "Your Prime Minister Blair butchered innocent young people. We butcher back." Barry George's own defense barrister? What the hell's that word? Barrister?
Barrister.
A lawyer entitled to practice as an advocate, particularly in the higher courts. Blue Menace. I've been streaming for 3 hours and 14 minutes. Barry George's own defense barrister, Michael Mansfield, QC. Wait, what's the QC mean? What the fuck? whatever. Barry George's own defense barrister, Michael Mansfield, was adamant that the Serbian warlord, known as Arkan, had ordered Dando assassinated in revenge for the bombing of the RTS headquarters, that her involvement in the appeal, the fact she was the public face of the campaign. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to figure out how to pronounce this shit. That her involvement in the appeal, the fact that she was the public face of the campaign, made her a legitimate target in the eyes of angry Serbs. Oh, quality control? That's weird. That was part of his title? Yeah, I go to Dunkin' Donuts a lot, and I just love I get like a macchiato, a hot macchiato with almond milk and an extra shot of espresso. Dude, almond milk, it tastes so good. It's so freaking good. I think it's got like vanilla in it or something. Alright, so this is like a weird Serbian name. Oh, dude, they actually put the pronunciation in there. Thanks. Pronounce Shelko Arkan Rashnotovic. Sweet. That her involvement in the appeal, the fact she was the public face of the campaign, made her a legitimate target in the eyes of angry Serbs. Shelko Arkan Rashnotovic was something of a cross between a military commander and career criminal. Despite the fact that he commanded the Serb volunteer guard, who he nicknamed the Tigers, he had made his name on Interpol's most wanted list for a number of robberies and murders he had committed throughout Europe. He had robbed banks in Sweden and Holland, had shootouts with police in Germany, and even escaped custody in Belgium as part of a daring prison break. There is no doubt that Arkan was nothing short of a criminal mastermind, and certainly had an extensive network of fellow crooks in almost every country around mainland Europe. It is not out of the question that he had the contacts and resources to have Jill Dando murdered, but it is not just Arkan who had such a shady past. The entire country of Yugoslavia, of which Serbia was a part of, had engaged in murky dealings. The country's former communist government had a history of targeted assassinations of its political opponents. These killings were generally carried out by hitmen working in pairs, a triggerman and a spotter, and were intricately planned. They had to be, since most of these assassinations took place as the target was either entering or leaving their own home. This was when the target was most vulnerable. It has also reduced the chance. It also reduces the chance of the target's identity being mistaken and the wrong person being killed. In fact, a Serbian opposition journalist was murdered outside of his own home just days before Jill Dando's death in an attack. Sorry. Oh. White chocolate mocha. Ooh, that sounds good. Alright, where the heck am I? This is when the target was... In fact, Serbian opposition... Alright, I don't even know. This was when the target was most vulnerable. It also reduced the chances of the target's identity being mistaken and the wrong person being killed. In fact, a Serbian opposition journalist was murdered outside of his own home just days before Jill Dando's death in an attack that was almost identical to the one she died in. Law enforcement would call such an attack a hard contact execution. Pressing the gun against a target's head before the shot is fired acts almost as a suppressor, not to mention the reduced noise from the tampered bullet. This act of close contact would also prevent the killer's clothing from being splattered with gore. UK Member of Parliament Patrick Mercer, who served the British Army, UK Member of Parliament Patrick Mercer, who served with the British Army in Bosnia, would later state that Dando's murder had all of the hallmarks of covert fart. Cover fart. Oh my god, holy shit. Sorry. Drunk Princess with the 5 says heckity heck. I know. I keep making so many heckity heckin' mistakes. Okay. Why am I... Also, I gotta remember to record my outro, because I think I forgot about it. Do you guys remember me recording an outro? Gothic Rose, you're doing a thumbnail? Heck yeah. I kind of like doing thumbnails when I do them. When I do them. Because they're kind of... I just put on music and I just like try to be creative and it's fun. But... Robin does a lot of the thumbnails, like tomorrow's thumbnails for the pizza stories is like legitimately really awesome, like really cool. So keep an eye out for that. I'll post that probably after this to, build up hype. Ha 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 hype. Yeah, stink bugs suck. I remember that, like, I found so many, like almost like a nest of them or something, like behind some curtains, and I would take them, I would have a candle in my room, like a scented candle, and let the, oil in that, like, build up or whatever, and then just, like, drop them into, like, a mass grave inside the oil. It was kind of sadistic, but actually it was, like, the most effective way to get rid of them, because it actually, it killed them, and it also encased their stench. So, like, it didn't attract more or make you stink by squishing them. You literally just threw them in there, and the stench went away because it was a scented candle. It was the perfect crime committed by me. Let's read. Alright, what the fuck? This is when the target was most vulnerable. Patrick Mercer. Yeah, we'll go to Patrick Mercer. Did I miss a donation? Oh yeah, heckity heck, okay. Ree! Who are my favorite narrators? I really like Mr. Extremes, Mr. Scarecrow, Lazy Masquerade. Those guys are awesome. And there are many. A lot of good voices out there. UK Member of Parliament Patrick Mercer, who served with the British Army in Bosnia, would later state that Dando's murder had all the hallmarks of covert forces. He specifically cited the tailored ammunition used in the killing, explaining that it was Serbian trademark, something he had seen many, many times while he was serving in the region. It would have been possible to arrest and question Arkan to delve deeper into his potential involvement in Dando's murder, if it wasn't for his own assassination that occurred just over 6 months after she was killed. An off-duty police officer with ties to the Serbian mafia executed Arkan in the lobby of the Belgrade Intercontinental Hotel. It appears that although the Serbian connection may never be fully explored, there is plenty of credible evidence to suggest their involvement, yet it is not the only potential explanation for Dando's murder, and the other is arguably even darker and considerably more sinister. When the contract killing theory was dismissed by police in the initial aftermath of Jill Dando's murder, the Serbian connection was not the only idea that was cast aside. The other was that a contract killer had been hired by a criminal gang or some similar underworld organization. She was, after all, the feminine face of the show Crime Watch UK for a good chunk of her career, and doubtlessly contributed to putting countless criminals behind bars. Of course, it is possible that she was targeted for this reason, but it is unlikely. She was not the only host of the program, and she only joined as a presenter after the previous female host departed the Crime Watch team for pastures new. Silencing Dando would certainly not stop the show from airing, and as I mentioned earlier, Crime Watch even ran a special edition of the show. Oh my lord. Crime Watch even ran a special edition of the show which reconstructed the events of Dando's murder and urged members of the public to come forward with information. If her murder was an attempt to pull Crime Watch off the airwaves, it certainly failed. It also seems like an extremely harsh form of retribution to have a woman killed simply because she facilitated the capture of criminals. Crime Watch gleaned all of the information on its suspects directly from the police themselves. It's not like Dando had any exclusive information regarding any high-profile crimes, or so it seems. For in 2014, a close friend and former BBC colleague of Dando's went public with some pretty explosive information. Although they insisted on remaining anonymous with their claims, the source told that Dando had been Sorry. Imagine if I was like a news person and I just like kept saying fuck every time I messed up. That'd be really funny. Okay. I love the video of like that guy's like actually let's listen to it. It's so funny since you guys are here. News reporter. Oh yeah, this is like one of my favorite videos from way back. Probably, I don't know. Let's see if, what the fuck?
What really happened on that Thursday here at Augusta High School that led to Chris Wood's death?
The fuck is that? Shit! I'm dying in this fucking country-ass fucked up town. Shit flying in my mouth. The fuck? I can't see pollen. Let's get the fuck out this country, motherfucker. I can't even see me.
Jesus, man, that's like classic YouTube, but that's like one of my favorite videos of all time. I can't see. Shit flying in my mouth. He may have known he may have known Miss Dando. All right, so where the hell were we? For in 2004, okay. For in 2014, a close friend and former BBC colleague of Dando's went public with some pretty explosive information. Although they insisted on remaining anonymous with their claims, the source told that Dando had been approached with evidence that DJs, celebrities, and other BBC staff were involved in an organized abuse. Fuck. Flying in my mouth, man. God damn it. Once again, I can't say pedo ring, and we're about to dig into a freaking pedo ring here. An organized ring focused on abusing children. Okay. God, that's such a long sentence. Although they insisted on remaining anonymous with their claims, the source told that Dando... Wait, what? Lynn Tillman with the 5 says, does MJ mean Jordan or Jackson? Same question about OJ, Juice, or person. If I see MJ, I feel like I'm more inclined to think of Michael Jackson. Wait, am I? Maybe I'm not. That's a hard question. What do you guys think? Creeper file. Trafficking children. Parasite ring. Sophia, I've been on here a while, and I've been struggling. To get through this script. Whew. But no, I appreciate you guys. Sorry, my fucks are so aggressive. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. I'm not actually mad. It's sort of a cathartic feeling. Here, say it with me. Say it with me, guys. Ready? Ready? 3, 2, 1. I just made you say the F word. So now you're banned. You are banned from my stream. All right. For 2014. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 2 says, child nope attacker. Nope. although they insisted on remaining anonymous with their claims. All right. Although they insisted on remaining anonymous with their claims, the source told that Dando had been approached with evidence that DJs, celebrities, and other BBC staff were involved in an organized ring trafficking children. Dando apparently took the allegations extremely seriously, but was stunned when, according to the anonymous source, no one wanted to know of the concern she raised about the allegedly high-profile human trafficking ring. She is said to have compiled a file of evidence that she passed on to BBC senior management, but nothing came of it. No investigation into the apparent abuse was undertaken. The same anonymous... You know what's so funny is this literally reminds me so much of the bullshit with Epstein. I don't know if you guys have been following that, but it just seems like these freaking pedo rings just get covered up left and right, and it's like, holy fuck, man, they must have a lot of higher people in the higher up. Vanikin's art with the 5 says, bless you and Pradeep Kitty, I'm out. May your socks all be buttered and your aliens always clap them ass. Loves you. Thank you, Vanikins. Loves you as well. Hope you have a good night. Oh, Sophia, I'm not mad. I'm not actually mad. I'm literally like 5 paragraphs from being done, and I want to clap them cheeks and get this done. The same anonymous source stated that although she did not want to implicate anyone and risk her own safety, she recalled that there were some shockingly famous names and faces included in the accusations. She also related that information regarding how to join... She also related that information regarding how to join this network was freely available, and how Jill had received a number of complaints from female colleagues who also complained to have been... I can't say groped, sexually assaulted, because it just triggers YouTube's shit, man. And I mean, that's all like superstition on my part, but I just don't want to risk it. She also related that information regarding how to join said network was freely available, and how Jill had received a number of complaints from female colleagues who also claimed to have been assaulted. But nothing was done. Their complaints weren't addressed. They seemed to be an unspoken policy of a BBC big black cat. Pradeep's not very big, actually. He's like kind of a smaller cat, black cat. Reptilian, if you want to talk about that, you can more than welcome to do it in my Discord. There's people that have been digging into it, but I doubt it's going to be a fruitless endeavor, needless to say, because it's just another breadcrumb down the rabbit trail or whatever. I don't know. But nothing was done. Their complaints weren't addressed. There seemed to be an unspoken policy of turning a blind eye, and we may know the reason. Alex B., how much story is left? We have about 4 or 5 paragraphs left. If I can just stay focused. Shit. There seemed to be an unspoken policy of turning a blind eye, and we may know the reason for such a policy. Jimmy Savile. Oh no. Jimmy Savile. You guys remember this dude? This dude. Creepy. Creepy dude. Look him up. Oh my god.
Savile Row.
Savile? Let's see. I actually have to look up how you pronounce his name because...
The evidence is now overwhelming that one of Britain's most beloved entertainers, the late Sir Jimmy Savile...
Alright, cool. Savile. AC Castillo with the 2 says, oh my god, how much does the Grand Pradeep Kitty weigh? Maybe like 7 pounds, maybe, or something like that. Really not heavy at all. Just a wee baby. Jimmy Savile. James Vincent Savile, an English DJ, radio, and TV host who headed BBC shows including Top of the Pops and Jim Will Fix It. He was a prolific fundraiser for charitable institutions and raised approximately £40 million for the needy during his lifetime. But he was prolific in other ways too. Upon his death in 2011, hundreds upon hundreds of women came out of the woodwork to accuse Savile of serious abuse. Subsequent investigations led police to conclude that Savile had perhaps been the most active and predatory Holy shit. Subsequent investigations led police to conclude that Savile had perhaps been the most active and predatory offender in British history, all under the guise of a kindly, albeit eccentric, philanthropist. But Savile. How do you say it again?
The evidence is now overwhelming that one of Britain's most beloved entertainers, the late Sir Jimmy Savile, was
Savile. My God. But Savile could never have conducted such rampant abuses if not for the complacency or apathy of the government and charitable institutions he associated himself with. By late October 2012, the scandal had resulted in inquiries or reviews at the BBC, the National Health Service, the Crown Prosecution Service, and the Department of Health, all of which tried to work out just how Savile was able to remain undetected, or rather, how the children he abused came to be marginalized and ignored. But a minor inspection of Savile's credentials showed that he was a very well-connected man indeed. He was a knight bachelor by the... Dogs are like your children, cats are like your roommates. I miss Kitty Smokey, he was the best roommate ever. Yeah, that's true. Pradeep is very low maintenance. He was made a He was made a knight bachelor by the British royal family, granted a papal knighthood by Pope John Paul II, and even gifted a Cross of Merit by the Sovereign Military Order of Malta. There is absolutely no doubt that Savile used such influence to cover up the crimes that he and his companions committed. By 2012, when the extent of Savile's abuse had been revealed to the public, Jill's fellow BBC presenter and possible identity of the aforementioned anonymous source, Sally Jones, revealed that Savile had tried to kiss... I don't know if I can say grope. God, dude. That's why I'm apprehensive to do these true crime stories, because they always revolve around sexual violence. And YouTube, I don't know, man. It's just you can't dig too deep or we get punished for it. Revealed that Savile had tried to kiss and inappropriately touch her in a chance Oh my lord. Revealed that Savile had tried to kiss and inappropriately touch her in a chance elevator encounter in the late 80s. When she had related the story to Jill, she was surprised to find that Jill held the opinion that the venerated DJ was nothing more than a dirty old pervert. Where others turned a blind eye or covered up Savile's crimes, it appears that Jill had no qualms calling him out for what he really was. Sally Jones even related that Jill Dando herself had to fend off plenty of unwelcome advances. DJ Liz Kershaw and former Country File presenter Miriam O'Reilly have also both claimed they suffered harassment at the BBC in the 1980s. Could this have been at the hands of Jimmy Savile? Oh my god. Cheyenne with a 2 says random, but ferrets are noodle cats. Changed my mind. That's true. I'd be interesting to see ferrets interacting with cats. See how they liked each other. Thank you for the 2. Could this have been at the hands of Jimmy Savile? Regardless, when Miss Dando joined a campaign to help children spot... Fuck, dude. Regardless, when Miss Dando joined a campaign to help children spot these type of predators the year before she died, she had received death threats, putting the BBC in lockdown, with armed guards patrolling television centers in London to protect... All right. With armed guards... Fuck, dude. Oh my god. With armed guards patrolling Television Centre in London to protect one of their most valuable assets. Could Dando have been silenced by a group of covert abusers led by Savile himself? It would seem to account for the wall of silence that remained until Savile's death in 2011. One woman's life would be a small price to pay for the continual cover-up of 6 decades of abuse. Savile himself once said that he believed he would be able to square things away with the big man upon his death, alluding to the idea that the weight of his good deeds would balance the scales. This is commonly believed to be a reference to the predatory behavior he himself knew was evil, but it could allude to other crimes too. Crimes such as the suspicious death of Liz McKeon. Liz McKeon, the former British investigative reporter who exposed Jimmy Savile and the culture of... Christopher Polanski with the 2 says, I have a ferret and 2 cats. They get along great. Oh, that's cool. I feel like it'd be fun to watch them like wrestle or whatever. Not upset about the heck, and that's good. I'm trying to clap them cheeks, dude. I don't know why. It's just like every 2 words is the word pedophile, 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 and it's like, Jesus fuck. Like, I don't want to say that in my video. Even though I say that in my stream. Oh, man. Okay. Liz McKeon, former blah, 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 blah. Culture of abuse protection at the BC. Liz McKeon, the former British investigative reporter who exposed Jimmy Savile and Savile. How do you say his name? Oh my god.
Entertainers, the late Sir Jimmy Savile.
Savile. Liz McKeon, the former British investigative reporter who exposed Jimmy Savile and the culture of abuse protection at the BBC, was just 52 when she was found dead. The BBC, who blocked her groundbreaking investigation from airing and spent the next few years attempting to destroy her reputation, reported that she died of complications from a stroke. Liz McKeon was the second high-profile BBC journalist to die in suspicious circumstances after attempting to expose the truth about the human... Billy, that's a good point. That might help, actually. Liz McKeon was the second high-profile BBC journalist to die in suspicious circumstances after attempting to expose the truth about this ring operating in the upper reaches of the establishment. Dando was the first. On May 21st, 1999, at Ebden. Alright. Jesus Christ. I'm so ready for this freaking... Alright. How long's the stream going on? Until I'm done with this, and then I'm done. Forever. Never reading another thing in my life. What the hell was it? Oxford Dictionaries? Okay. Sorry, dudes. I don't mean to be negative. I'm just, like, mentally burned out, and it's, like, really hot in this room. Child deviant, yeah. Ebden. You know what? I'm just going to say Ebden. I don't care anymore. That seems right. Ebden. On May 21st, 1999, at Ebden Road Cemetery, just 5 miles from where she was born, Jill Dando was laid to rest next to her late mother, who died of leukemia just 13 years earlier. Friends and colleagues spoke of her selfless nature and warm demeanor. Laughs were shared, tears were shed, as a dear friend, a beloved sister, was bid farewell. BBC Royal correspondent Jeannie Bond read from lyrics written by Christina Rossetti in 1848. I shall not see the shadows, I shall not feel the rain, I shall not hear the nightingale sing on as if in pain, and dreaming through the twilight that doth not rise nor set, happily I may remember, and happily may forget. Her co-presenter on Crime Watch UK, Nick Ross, told the story of how Dando would take off her high heels for the final shot of the show, so that each presenter would appear equal in height and thus none more important than the other. It was little things such as this that made Dando so lovable. She'd never stop thinking of others. Nick Ross would go on to propose the founding of an academic institute in Jill's name, raising over £1 million for the Jill Dando Institute of Crime Science at University College London. The BBC also set up a bursary award in Dando's memory, funding one student each year to study broadcast journalism at University College Falmouth. Alright, how do you say this place? The story's turn, yeah. College Falmouth? Falmouth? Jesus Christ. I'm learning so much about the UK. Alright, pronounce name. That's not right. Falmouth? What the freaky Friday? Alright, come on, baby.
Falmouth.
Alright, sweet. Glad I asked. The BBC also set up a bursary award in Dando's memory, funding one student each year to study broadcast journalism at University College Falmouth. The impact of Dando's life and legacy are evident. Even 20 years after her death, she is remembered fondly by the public that so richly adored her. A memorial garden designed and realized by the BBC Television Ground Force team in Dando's memory, using plants and colors that were special to her, is located within Grove Park, Weston-super-Mare. The site is beautiful, a fitting tribute to her memory, but gazing upon such a serene, colorful, sunlit scene, you realize it stands in stark contrast with the manner in which she died, in an ugly, convoluted, mysterious way, the reasons for which remain firmly in the dark. For those that loved her, those that worked with her, and those with a general interest in unsolved mysteries, one question still remains unanswered, clawing at the minds of the curious. Just who exactly killed Jill Dando? Oh my God, I did it. That was like fighting a Dark Souls boss, dude. I don't even know why that was so difficult. Kept trying to like dance my way around the word pedophile. Just like the news, right, guys? Just like the news. Cops are here. Everyone look busy. All right, I'm just going to record this outro real quick. Boo doo 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 ribby dibby doo dooby dooby doo. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let's Read Official, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends, and I'll see you again soon. Drunk Princess with the $5 said, "We stan a patient king." Thank you. Thank you, Stan. It's so funny. It took me so long to figure out what the Stan, like, lingo was. It's like, who is this Stan? And then I was found out that it was a reference to the Eminem song or Slim Shady song, Stan, like, do 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 do. That references back to an obsessive fan. So it's almost like hyperbolically using the word that we obsess over or very much appreciate. A patient king. So thank you. Sorry, I guess I didn't really have to go into that, but thank you. Hey, it's Dezombified. What's up? I was on Dezombified last night for a interview, so if you guys want to head over to Dezombified to check out my interview from before, you can hear even more fun hijinks that we had going on there. Subscribe, and they're going to have Mr. Creepypasta and various other narrators on there soon. Definitely peep that. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 2 says, "Could you read original works of Shakespeare?" I could. Not tonight. I'm burnt out, dude. That was a long stream. That was like, this is 4 hours, dude. Not that that's a big deal. I just like reading this really got into my head for some reason. And now I'm turning into a beast. Just kidding. I just need to eat some food and take a whiz. The morning rain clouds at my window, and I can see at all. Let's see. Actually, I'm kind of curious. I want to read an excerpt from Shakespeare. Shake and bake spear. Shakespeare in Love. Is excerpt? Excerpt? Yeah, excerpts. Shakespeare poems. Reading a poem. Not from the stars do my judgment pluck. When I consider everything that grows, shall I compare thee to a summer's day, a woman's face with nature's own hand painted, when in disgrace with fortune in men's eyes, when to the sessions of sweet silent thought, full many a glorious morning have I seen, not marble, nor the gilded monuments, like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore. Tired with all these, for restful death I cry, that time of year thou mast in me behold. How like a winter hath my absence been, from you I've been absent in the spring. To me, fair friend, you never can be old. Let me not the marriage of true minds, like as to make our appetite more keen. O thou, my lovely boy, who in thy power, the expense of spirit and a waste of shame, my mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun, when my love swears that she is made of truth, poor soul, the center of my sinful earth. What are they even talking about? Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Just a bunch of rambles. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for being here, sticking with me in this long stream. It was a good time, and I very much look forward to doing it again. This video, not this Jane Dando video, that'll come out probably at quite a bit later date once it's done editing, because I actually feel bad putting all of the, like, this is a lot of audio that's going to be put on Robin's already over-encumbered back. He's got the world on his shoulders, and that's going to be a lot of editing for him, so you have to cheer him on and go follow him and give him love on Instagram, because he's always making a ton of amazing art. And guys, thanks so much for being here. Pizza Stories will come out tomorrow, or today, I guess, rather, at 7 p.m. I'm going to be grinding and editing that here for a little while and getting that ready for you. I promise that will be out at 7 p.m. Thank you, guys. If you want to hear it early, go head over to Patreon for only $1. You can get that early access audio, and you'll also get the Jane Dando audio as well in conjunction with that. Guys, love you so much. Thank you so much for sticking with me in my highs and my lows as I slowly seep into insanity. No, I'm just kidding. Also, I might be over on Discord at some point if you guys want to BS with me while I edit and that kind of thing as a little bit of an after party situation. But love you. Hope you get a good night's rest, and I will see you again soon.